Chapter 48. It was a head-on clash of strength. There were no fancy techniques, only raw power. Only one move was enough to determine the winner. Many of the geniuses were shocked and couldn't believe their eyes. The one who was injured was Xian Tong. Xian Tong wasn't like Zhao Feng. He was famous among the younger generation in Sun Feather City, and he was ranked second only to the four great geniuses in the last Genius Summit. In many people's minds, Xian Tong's body tempering skill was one of the best in the younger generation. However, no one had expected that he would be defeated in one move, and he had lost in a contest of strength. I lost. If I'm not wrong, you're practicing the metal wall technique, which is at least at the peak of the fourth stage. Xian Tong wiped the blood off his mouth. He had seen through the body tempering skill that Zhao Feng was practicing. The metal wall technique was more advanced than the copper skin metal body, and it was more difficult to comprehend. In terms of power, the metal wall technique was no weaker than a top-tier martial art. Rumor had it that it was a simplified version of the legendary holy martial art, silver wall technique. That's right, Zhao Feng didn't deny it. His metal wall technique wasn't just at the peak of the fourth stage. A few days ago, he had reached the fifth stage. When did Sun Feather City have such a person? His body tempering skill is even better than Xian Tong's. His defense is probably the best in the younger generation in Sun Feather City. After defeating Xian Tong, Zhao Feng's fame rose, and many of the young geniuses were talking about him. After the battle, Zhao Feng didn't continue and returned to the Zhao clan's pavilion. Zhao Han, Zhao Qi, and the others looked at him with shock and fear, especially Zhao Han. This was especially so for Zhao Han. He couldn't even beat Xian Tong in 100 moves, but Zhao Feng had defeated him in one move. It seemed like the gap between him and Zhao Feng was getting bigger and bigger after the family martial art competition. Of course, since Zhao Feng and Xian Tong were fighting with brute force, it was normal for the winner to be decided in one move. Therefore, Zhao Linlong, who was the most powerful person in the Zhao clan, only showed a hint of surprise on his face, but he soon recovered his composure. One by one, the young geniuses appeared on the stage. After the time it takes to burn half an incense stick. TSK, it's my turn. A lazy youth walked out of the Zhao family. He was also at the 5th rank of the martial path. This time, it was Zhao Qi in terms of ranking. Zhao Qi was even one rank higher than Zhao Feng, just below Zhao Linlong. Not only was Zhao Qi's cultivation high, he was also proficient in all sorts of martial arts. The moment he went up, he defeated a 5th-ranked genius from the Xian family and the Qiu family. Especially at the last moment, Zhao Qi had used a top-notch fist art. Although it was not a high level of mastery, its power was shocking. Right now, Zhao Qi's momentum was even greater than Zhao Feng's. Now, the only opponents he could challenge were those who were at the level of the legendary geniuses. Xian Wuheng, Qiu Mengyu, Qiu Chang'e. Qiu Chang'e, I lost you a year ago. I will definitely lose this time. Zhao Qi was very confident. Haha, you have indeed improved a lot. However, it won't be that easy to defeat me. Qiu Chang'e was dressed like a scholar. He was handsome and elegant. At the center of the summit, two figures clashed. Facing Zhao Qi, even Qiu Chang'e, one of the four great geniuses, had to face him seriously. This was because Zhao Qi's offense, defense, and speed were all very strong. He almost had no weaknesses, and he had also comprehended a peak rank martial art. Qiu Chang'e's forte was movement and lightness. Shush! Shush! In the darkness of the night, a white-robed figure could be seen, as graceful as a feather, coming and going like the wind. Flowing feather step, flowing feather flying cloud. Qiu Chang'e's movement skill and lightness skill were of the same origin. The two complemented each other, and their power was greatly increased. This was especially so for his flowing feather flying cloud, which had been trained to the peak. There is only one person in the younger generation of the Zhao clan who had trained a high-ranked movement skill to the peak. Zhao Qin said. In terms of movement speed, Qiu Chang'e is the strongest in the younger generation. Anyone who met him at the summit would find it hard to deal with him. The two figures clashed on the stage. Zhao Qi's performance was outstanding in all aspects. Although there was a slight difference in speed, he was able to last for 100 moves. The two geniuses were locked in a stalemate. There was no clear victor. One had a steady aura, while the other was carefree. According to the rules of the summit, the winner would be decided by the people on the stage. After some discussion, it was decided that Xiao Chang'e had the upper hand. The reason was that Xiao Chang'e had the upper hand in the battle, and his inner force was more profound. Furthermore, the host was the Qiu family, so although the decision was unfair, there wasn't much to criticize. Xiao Chang'e didn't stop after winning. His eyes moved and landed on Zhao Yufei with interest. Miss Yufei. Xiao Chang'e had a smile in his eyes. He didn't try to hide his admiration and affection. After spending a lot of time with beauties like Xiao Mingyu, he was immune to normal beauties. However, ever since he saw Zhao Yufei, his eyes lit up and his heart couldn't stay calm anymore. If he missed out on a girl like her, he would regret it for the rest of his life. Xiao Chang'e, you want to spar with me? Zhao Yufei had a smile on her face. She was not afraid at all. No, he's the one I want to challenge. Xiao Chang'e's eyes landed on Zhao Feng, who was standing next to her. Many people were confused by the sudden turn of events. Why me? Although Zhao Feng wasn't afraid of fighting, he was also puzzled. I want to know what's so special about Brother Zhao that a beauty like Miss Yufei would barge into the Qiu family to ask for an invitation for you. Xiao Chang'e stared at Zhao Feng. He knew that Zhao Yufei might be in love with Zhao Feng. If he wanted to replace Zhao Feng, he had to defeat Zhao Feng. What? Yufei asked for an invitation for him? Zhao Linlong's heart was filled with jealousy. He couldn't help but look at Zhao Feng in a new light. Thank you, Yufei. Zhao Feng smiled at Zhao Yufei gratefully. He finally understood how this invitation came about. Since Zhao Linlong always ignored him, it was very likely that he didn't get an invitation. We're good friends and neighbors. If you want to thank me, you have to defeat him. Zhao Yufei smiled. Her smile was like a lotus that bloomed after the rain. On her pure white skin, there was a hint of red. At that moment, her beauty even overshadowed Qiu Mingyu, the most beautiful girl of Sun Feather City. All right, I'll do as I say. Zhao Feng felt a warm current burning in his heart. Not for anything else, but for Zhao Yufei to ask for an invitation for him. He couldn't give in, and he couldn't lose. Zhao Feng, I hope you won't disappoint the girl behind you. Xiao Chang'e was a little envious and jealous. However, it was Zhao Linlong who was burning with jealousy. Why? How dare this branch family brat take my woman? Zhao Linlong's expression flickered in the night, making him seem slightly gloomy. At that moment, two figures clashed with each other. Xiao Chang'e's movement technique was still elegant, like a white colt flashing across a crevice. He was dressed in white and looked elegant. Coupled with his movement skill, he became the focus of the ladies. However, his opponent's movement skill was also very fast. Lightly floating fairy, lightly micro step. Zhao Feng used his movement skill and movement skill. These two martial arts of his were of the same origin, and they were related to each other. Up until now, Zhao Feng's lightly floating fairy was still at the initial success level. It was only slightly better than before, but it was still a distance away from the greater success level. However, this movement skill couldn't be measured by common sense. It was even more powerful than other top-tier martial arts. In terms of speed, Zhao Feng used 70 to 80% of his strength to fight Xiao Chang'e to a draw. As for lightly micro step, he had only used it to the greater success level, which made Xiao Chang'e feel helpless. How could this be? This guy's speed and movement skill are on par with mine. Xiao Chang'e's heart trembled as cold sweat appeared on his back. For a long time, he was known as the best among his peers in Sun Feather City. However, today there was someone who was on par with him. Xiao Chang'e couldn't beat his opponent in what he was best at. However, Zhao Feng's body tempering skills and attack skills were obviously better than his. Star Finger, Zhao Feng yelled as he pointed his finger, along with the sharp whistling sound of his martial path inner force. Whoosh! That finger instantly condensed the martial path inner force into a single point and merged it with all the energy in his body. It drew a faint green dot in the air at an extremely fast speed. Poof! Xiao Chang'e couldn't dodge it and took the attack head-on. He felt a sharp pain in his arm and lost all feeling in it. There was even an extremely condensed inner force that was directed into his organs, which almost made him puke blood. Tongue! 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 He took a few steps back before regaining his balance. Top-tier finger skill? How can I lose? Xiao Chang'e gritted his teeth and prepared to use his ultimate skill. Pa! An iron-like arm lightly patted on his shoulder. What? Xiao Chang'e felt like he had fallen into an ice cellar. It turned out that Zhao Feng had found an opening when Xiao Chang'e was in a daze and used the light micro steps to move behind him at an unbelievable angle and speed. I lost. Xiao Chang'e was in a daze. He still couldn't believe it. But that was the truth. Zhao Feng's speed was not any slower than his, and his attacks were stronger. He had even learned the famous Star Finger. Star Finger. Zhao Linlong's eyebrows twitched. Star Finger and Spatial Cloud Finger were both top-notch martial arts with great offensive power. Zhao Tiansong had once said to him, "The weaving cloud finger that I taught you is the best among all the top martial arts in the Zhao family. If you don't teach me Star Finger, the other top martial arts won't be able to compete with you." Then why didn't you teach me Star Finger? Zhao Linlong was confused. Star Finger is too hard to learn, and it's very dangerous. One mistake, and you might hurt yourself. Plus, even if you're the head of the family, I can't just let you go to the martial arts library and pick a top martial art. The scene from back then replayed in his mind. Luckily, Zhao Feng's Star Finger has only reached the second level. If he had reached the third level, it would be troublesome. Zhao Linlong let out a sigh of relief. Judging from the scene just now, Zhao Feng's Star Finger shouldn't have reached the third level. Chapter 49. Zhao Feng used Star Finger and defeated Xiao Chang'e with one finger. This caused an uproar at the Genius Summit. When did this kid come out? Why haven't I heard of him before? He just defeated Xian Tong with one move, and now even Xiao Chang'e has lost him. The uproar was more intense than the previous battles. This was because Xiao Chang'e was one of the four great geniuses of the last Genius Summit. Zhao Feng had defeated Xiao Chang'e, making him one of the four great geniuses of this Genius Summit. The geniuses of the Zhao clan who were familiar with Zhao Feng were also shocked. Zhao Qi, Zhao Han, and Zhao Qin looked at each other with shock on their faces. He really won. Zhao Yufei's eyes were filled with joy, as if she was even happier than if she had won. The Zhao family has someone so powerful apart from Zhao Linlong. What's more, he's only 14 years old. Xiao Mingyu's eyes were filled with worry and wariness. In Sun Feather City, the three great families competed with each other, especially the Qiu family and the Zhao family. They had been opposing each other for a long time, and there had been constant friction over different industries and businesses. The potential of the new generation of disciples was related to the future of the three families. After defeating Xiao Chang'e, Zhao Feng returned to the pavilion where the Zhao clan was. He smiled at Zhao Yufei. "You did what you said. I hope you didn't disappoint me." "Of course not. I was just joking. I just wanted to test Brother Zhao Feng's true strength." Zhao Yufei's eyes flickered with a cunning smile, and the dimples on her face were like pears. Zhao Feng couldn't help but be stunned. All of a sudden, he felt an enmity coming from the side. Glancing over, Zhao Linlong's face was cold and filled with warning. Zhao Feng shook his head. Zhao Linlong thought that he was also pursuing Zhao Yufei and warned him many times. He didn't bother to explain. With Zhao Feng's current strength, he didn't fear anyone in his generation. The summit continued to take place as the top geniuses of Sun Feather City continued to make their moves. At a certain stage, the host of the summit, Qiu Mingyu, personally demonstrated. Qiu Mingyu defeated several geniuses of the 4th and 5th ranks with ease. With Zhao Qin and Zhao Qing's strength, they couldn't even last 3 moves against Qiu Mingyu. The other 5th-ranked geniuses like Zhao Qi and Zhao Han couldn't last more than 20 moves. Many people were left speechless. Qiu Mingyu is half a level higher than Xiao Chang'e. Zhao Feng was slightly surprised. For a long time, Qiu Mingyu had given the impression that she was the most beautiful girl in Sun Feather City. In terms of strength, Xiao Mingyu was ranked second in the last summit, which was even higher than Zhao Linlong. Zhao Linlong, you have the highest cultivation among the new talents of Sun Feather City. If I may be so bold, I would like to spar with you. Xiao Mingyu said with a smile. Since I lost you last time, I can't avoid a fight this time. Zhao Linlong slowly stood up, and the aura of the 6th rank of the martial path was released, bringing with it an invisible pressure. At this moment, he looked around the summit with an aloof and disdainful look. However, you fought a few times just now, so I won by unfair means. Zhao Linlong changed the topic. Brother Linlong is indeed the top genius of the Zhao clan. Mingyu, please wait for a while. Qiu Mingyu smiled and didn't reject. Facing Zhao Linlong, who had the highest cultivation, she had to give it her all. Is there anyone who dares to fight with me? Zhao Linlong let out a long laugh as his inner strength surged around him, causing the wind to howl around him. His eyes scanned the Qiu and Xian families with an inexplicable pressure. Mingyu, let me test him. A skinny youth from the Qiu family said to Qiu Mingyu. Qiu Lin, be careful. Don't fight him head-on. Qiu Mingyu nodded and started to recover her energy. Sung, a skinny youth of the 5th rank of the martial path landed in the middle of the summit. Zhao Linlong, I lost you last time. Let's fight again today. Qiu Lin was full of battle intent as a layer of dark green energy circulated around his arms. He was at the peak of the 5th rank of the martial path. Hee, let's see how many moves you can take. Zhao Linlong lightly laughed, and with a schwa his figure flashed, leaving behind a few golden afterimages in the night. Most of the people present saw the figures of Zhao Linlong at the same time. High-ranked martial art, Shadow Step. This martial art can unleash its greatest power at night. Some of the spectators exclaimed. At this moment, only Zhao Linlong's afterimages could be seen in the night. Qiu Lin's heart skipped a beat. His eyes couldn't even see Zhao Linlong's movements, so it was hard for him to predict his attack. Azure Wind Palm. He gritted his teeth, and a dark green aura surged out from his palm. A deep and thick wind howled as it swept forward a few meters. Boom! Poof! Poof! His palm technique was fast and powerful, causing gusts of wind to howl as it hit Zhao Linlong's position. However, after a few moves, he couldn't even touch the hem of Zhao Linlong's clothes. Whoosh! Zhao Linlong's ghostly golden afterimages were shattered again and disappeared from his sight. Qiu Lin had a bad feeling as he felt a gust of wind coming from the side. Azure Wind Reversal. He shouted in shock. The wind from his palm reverberated, and a dark green aura surged from his body, rushing backward with the force of his palm. Pa! A strange sound echoed in the night sky. Qiu Lin's movement froze, and his face was full of shock. The arm that he was waving was unable to move even an inch. The full-powered palm strike of an advanced mastery stage martial artist was forcibly stopped in midair. Hiss! Many people in the crowd gasped in shock. Behind Qiu Lin, there was a man in a loose golden robe. He had one hand on Qiu Lin's shoulder. Qiu Lin's back was covered in cold sweat. He felt the hand on his shoulder was extremely heavy. No matter how hard he struggled, he couldn't move. Even a martial arts inner force in his body was intimidated by the domineering aura. Shadow Step, an advanced movement skill at the peak level. Coupled with Zhao Linlong's 6th rank cultivation, Qiu Lin can't even take one attack from him. Qiu Chang'e took a deep breath. His eyes were filled with shock. Zhao Linlong's strength had exceeded everyone's expectations this time. Who else wants to fight me? Zhao Linlong stood in the middle of the stage. His loose golden robe fluttered in the wind like a king. Me? After Qiu Lin's defeat, a young man of the 5th rank walked out from the Xian family. His ranking was slightly higher than Xian Fei and Xian Tong. I'll defeat you in 3 moves. Zhao Linlong smiled. Whoosh! His golden figure was like a gust of wind in the night. The two figures clashed, and with a pung-pung, the youth of the 5th stage of the martial path was sent flying. Whoosh! A purple azure aura surrounded Zhao Linlong's body, and when combined with his golden robe, his aura increased once again. Who else? Zhao Linlong scanned the crowd. He glanced at Xiao Mingyu and Xian Wuheng. Xian Wuheng closed his eyes and didn't respond. He seemed to have no interest in fighting. Just when Zhao Linlong was thinking about who to challenge. Me, Xiao Mingyu leaped up gracefully like a streak of green silk. She danced gracefully like a fairy, elegant and mysterious. She was hazy like a dream as she landed at the center of the summit. What kind of movement skill is that? Some of the youths were dazed. Xiao Mingyu's movement skill was hazy and ethereal. Her body was soft as if it didn't have any bones. Great! Zhao Linlong used Shadow Step, and a few golden figures merged into the night and clashed with the azure figure. Bang! Pa! The two figures occasionally clashed in the air, but they soon passed each other. Every time they clashed, Xiao Mingyu's body would be strangely flexible. She would use the other's force to fight back, spinning back and forth. Xiao Mingyu's graceful serpent flexible body is a set of special body-refining martial arts. It allows her body to be extremely flexible, allowing her to withstand greater strength. Furthermore, she's good at leveraging strength. Martial artists of the same level cannot hurt her at all. Zhao Qin introduced. In terms of body-strengthening martial arts, Xiao Mingyu was second only to Zhao Feng and on par with Xian Tong. However, Xiao Mingyu's body-strengthening martial art was even more special. Furthermore, Xiao Mingyu's movement skill weren't any weaker than Xiao Changyi's, and her inner strength was close to the 6th rank. With Zhao Linlong's ability, he didn't gain the upper hand even after using Shadow Step to the limit. 30 moves, 40 moves, time passed bit by bit. Zhao Linlong's advantage was slowly increasing. His movement skill was at a high level and his cultivation was strong, so he was able to suppress Xiao Mingyu. Shuttle Cloud Finger. After 50 moves, Zhao Linlong used his peak-ranked martial art. Shu, the azure and violet aura on the tip of his finger condensed into the shape of a needle, flickering between his fingers as if piercing through the clouds and mist in the sky. Xiao Mingyu couldn't take it anymore, and she almost spat out blood after blocking more than 10 moves. Brother Linlong's progress is amazing. I admire your Shadow Step and Shuttle Cloud Finger. Xiao Mingyu admitted defeat with a smile. Although she lost, it was within reason. In this summit, Zhao Linlong's momentum was too strong, and he was able to dominate the crowd with his 6th rank cultivation. Maybe only Xian Wuheng, who was ranked first last, could fight him. After defeating Xiao Mingyu, Zhao Linlong's only opponent was Xian Wuheng. Is there anyone else who wants to fight? Zhao Linlong took a deep breath and his eyes scanned the crowd. His gaze paused on Zhao Feng's face with disdain and disdain. When his gaze met Zhao Yufei's, it became warm and passionate again. He didn't hide his adoration at all. Just wait and witness that glorious moment. Finally, Zhao Linlong's gaze landed on Xian Wuheng. The other geniuses also looked towards Xian Wuheng with anticipation. Xian Wuheng, the king of the previous summit who had defeated the other 3 great geniuses with absolute strength. Xian Wuheng, Xian Wuheng. Cheers came from the crowd. Under everyone's gaze, Xian Wuheng slowly stood up and said calmly, 6th rank of the martial path is useless. Same rules, 10 moves. What? The crowd went into an uproar. 10 moves? What did he mean? Zhao Feng was slightly shocked as he looked at the other geniuses of the Zhao clan. Xian Wuheng has a nickname. 10 moves more. Zhao Qi took a deep breath. 10 moves more? Up until now, no one in the same generation has been able to take 10 moves from him. Never. Chapter 50. Xian Wuheng lost in 10 moves. Xian Wuheng's appearance had pushed the summit to a new peak. The cheers of the spectators came from all directions. As the first and the last summit, Xian Wuheng's fame and reputation were unparalleled. Xian Wuheng, I've been waiting for you for a long time. Zhao Linlong's eyes flashed with battle intent. His inner strength flowed like a stream of iron. The aura of the 6th rank of the martial path was like a gust of wind that swept across the entire arena. Zhao Linlong, your stamina has been exhausted. It's best if you rest for a few rounds. Xiao Mingyu reminded him kindly. Zhao Linlong had just fought a few times, especially with Xiaomingyu. His stamina and inner strength had been exhausted, and he only had 70 to 80% of his peak. If it was against an ordinary opponent, Zhao Linlong wouldn't even consider this problem. But this time, his opponent was Xian Wuheng, the prodigy who had defeated him in 10 moves. Brother Linlong, rest for a while. Let me experience his strength. Zhao Ling leapt into the air, his spear in hand. In a Zhao clan's tournament, Zhao Ling was ranked 7th. Originally, he didn't have the right to participate in the summit, but Zhao Linlong had given him this chance, stripping Zhao Feng of his spot. Therefore, Zhao Ling was grateful to Zhao Linlong and had helped him this time. All right, don't force yourself. Zhao Linlong nodded and returned to the pavilion to rest. With Zhao Ling and the others fighting, he could at least test Xian Wuheng's strength. Xian Wuheng, take my spear. Zhao Qing cried out in alarm. The spear in his hand transformed into a wave of silver light that swept through the night. It was hard to tell which one was real in the dark. Xian Wuheng stood on the spot, one hand behind his back, not moving an inch. Preposterous. Zhao Ling was enraged. Xian Wuheng's performance showed that he didn't see him as an opponent at all. Puchi, the spear's shadow intertwined, piercing towards Xian Wuheng's left shoulder. Xian Wuheng was as calm as an ancient well. He did not move an inch from where he was and slowly raised his finger. Clang! The ordinary finger hit the weak point of the spear tip, and a wisp of condensed inner strength surged in like lightning. Zhao Qing's qi and blood were in turmoil. The webbing between his thumb and forefinger trembled, and he almost lost his balance. Let go! Xian Wuheng struck out with his palm, sending an indescribable force through the spear, causing Zhao Qing to vomit blood on the spot. Clang! The spear flew out of Zhao Qing's hand, and he staggered back a few steps as he spat out a mouthful of blood. With a tap and a slap, Zhao Qing was defeated, his spear slipping from his hand. This scene shocked many of the geniuses present, but it was within their expectations. After all, Xian Wuheng was the top genius in the upper realm. If it was Zhao Linlong, he would probably be able to achieve the same result. In the pavilion, Zhao Feng's expression was grave. His left eye had clearly seen the entire process of Xian Wuheng's attack. Xian Wuheng's seemingly casual tap had hit Zhao Qing's weak spot. It was almost identical to the flaw that Zhao Qing had seen with his left eye. Not only that, Xian Wuheng's attack seemed to follow the most logical path, and it was in perfect harmony with the environment. Zhao Feng had only felt this from the mysterious, immature girl at the Valley of the Blood Python. But the feeling of the immature girl was 10 times stronger than Xian Wuheng's. Brother Linlong, hurry up and recover. I'll go test him and force him to use his true strength. Zhao Qi's eyes twinkled, and he leapt into the air. Make your move. Xian Wuheng still stood with his hands behind his back, his face expressionless. Sky-howling fist. Zhao Qi's expression was cold as he used a high-ranked fist skill that was close to the peak. At the same time, he used a high-ranked footwork skill and circulated his inner force and body tempering technique. Zhao Qi's strength was close to the top geniuses, and he had no weaknesses in any aspect. He was the most suitable person to test Xian Wuheng. Breaking wind finger. Xian Wuheng's index finger pierced through the air, and his inner force howled like a sharp blade. Boom! Xian Wuheng's finger actually brushed past the edge of Zhao Qi's palm. Zhao Qi staggered, and he almost fell to the ground. His arm went numb, and he almost lost all feeling. Breaking wind finger? That seems to be a middle-ranked martial art. Wait, I've trained the breaking wind finger before, but why is it different from his? The audience was in an uproar, and the sounds of discussion were endless. Taking a deep breath, Zhao Qi's expression became solemn as he used a high-level movement technique to escape from danger. Pa! Pa! The two of them exchanged punches and fingers. 1 move, 2 moves, 3 moves. Xian Wuheng stood calmly on the spot, not moving an inch. Hoo-hoo! Zhao Qi panted heavily as sweat beaded on his forehead. His face was red and dry. It had only been 3 moves. Every move from Xian Wuheng would exhaust a large amount of his mental energy, which was equivalent to exchanging hundreds of moves with someone of the same cultivation. Xian Wuheng's every move seemed to counter him. The same inner strength, the same amount of force, and Xian Wuheng's attacks seemed to have the advantage of timing and location. When it came to the fifth move, Zhao Qi's chest, arms, palms, and other parts of his body were hit. On the sixth move, Xian Wuheng suddenly changed to a middle-level kick technique, and with a bang, he kicked Zhao Qi's arm. Ah! Zhao Qi cried out in pain. His arm was almost fractured, and he fell to the ground in cold sweat. Xian Wuheng had used a middle-ranked finger skill and a middle-ranked footwork skill to defeat Zhao Qi. It's the same as last year, all middle-ranked martial arts. Every single one of his middle-ranked martial arts has reached the peak level. Some of the more experienced geniuses saw that something was wrong. At the center of the summit, Xian Wuheng stood calmly with his hands behind his back, as if he hadn't used any energy at all. After Zhao Qi's defeat, the Qiu family also sent out a few geniuses to challenge him. Even Qiu Chang'e, who was one of the top geniuses in the last summit, went to test him. But the result was the same. The geniuses all lost to Xian Wuheng's middle-ranked martial arts. Even Qiu Chang'e only lasted until the seventh move. Xian Wuheng kept one hand behind his back as he attacked. He only used one hand. His opponents of the same rank were like peasants who didn't know martial arts and only knew how to use brute force. It's hard to believe. Zhao Feng had done some calculations when he was watching the battles. Xian Wuheng had used a total of 5 to 6 middle-ranked martial arts, and every single one of them had reached the peak level. Some of the moves had even surpassed the limits of original martial arts, and were even more powerful than before. At the same time, on a big tree near the Genius Summit, 2 figures in dark silver light armor stood on a tree branch, hidden in the shadows of the night. To have trained so many middle-ranked martial arts to the peak level, I can't believe there's such a genius in this small sun feather city. He's at least in the top 10 of his generation in the prefecture capital. One of the dark silver figures said, "You've underestimated him. Although he hasn't reached the breaking chi stage, he has the senses of a normal martial master. You should know what this means." The other voice was slightly hoarse. In the area where the summit was located, the geniuses of the 3 great families, including some elders and guests, didn't even notice these 2 uninvited guests. At the center of the summit, Xian Wuheng stood with his hands behind his back, his face expressionless. After a while, no one else dared to challenge him. Everyone's gazes turned towards Zhao Linlong. Zhao Linlong's cultivation had reached the 6th rank of the martial path, and he was the only genius who could compete with Xian Wuheng. Xian Wuheng also looked at the pavilion where the Zhao clan was, as if he was waiting for something. "Xian Wuheng, are you ready?" Zhao Linlong stood up, and his mental energy reached its peak. His inner strength flowed like a river, and he roared. The powerful aura of the 6th rank of the martial path made the disciples of the Zhao clan in the pavilion feel uncomfortable. "I don't need to prepare." Xian Wuheng didn't use much of his energy after fighting so many battles. This was because all of his opponents were easily defeated, and after a short moment of respite, they recovered to their peak. Very well. As soon as Zhao Linlong finished speaking, he left a golden afterimage on the spot. At the center of the summit, as the 2 geniuses faced each other, the spectators all held their breaths. Even the 2 silvery figures in the shadow of the tree looked on with interest. Shadow step. Zhao Linlong suddenly moved, leaving a few golden afterimages in the night. His speed was like a ghost, and it was impossible to see his figure clearly, but one could hear a rustling sound. Many people knew that Zhao Linlong's movement technique, Shadow Step, had reached the peak. Furthermore, Shadow Step could achieve twice the result with half the effort in the night. "Who?" Xian Wuheng let out a breath and slowly let go of the hand behind his back, revealing a serious expression. Ever since they started sparring, he had only fought with one hand. This time, his opponent had reached the 6th rank of the martial path, so he couldn't be careless. Facing Zhao Linlong's movement technique, Xi and Wu Heng stood still like a statue. Zhao Feng's left, I could clearly see Xi and Wu Heng's ears moving at a high frequency, merging with his breathing. I'm afraid Zhao Linlong's movement technique will be useless against him. He shook his head and sighed. I don't believe it. Zhao Ling wasn't convinced and coldly snorted. Brother Linlong's movement technique has reached the peak, and no one can beat him. Furthermore, his cultivation is the highest. For a long time, he had always admired and had confidence in Zhao Linlong. Zhao Feng smiled, but didn't say anything. Ha! In the night, a golden figure appeared behind Xi and Wu Heng, and his palm hit the target. Too fast. No one saw when Zhao Linlong appeared behind Xi and Wu Heng. However, at the last moment, Xi and Wu Heng also moved. He was neither fast nor slow as he slightly tilted his back. That lightning-like palm missed by half an inch, almost brushing against his clothes. The palm missed. At first glance, it looked like Zhao Linlong had hit his target, but he hadn't. He had missed by just a bit. Roundhouse kick. Xi and Wu Heng's body turned, and without turning his head, he kicked the stunned Zhao Linlong. Pung! Zhao Linlong circulated his inner strength of the 6th rank of the martial path to block Xi and Wu Heng's fist, but he was forced back a step. Just as Zhao Feng expected, Zhao Linlong's movement technique was useless against Xi and Wu Heng. How do you know that Zhao Linlong's shadow step doesn't work against Xi and Wu Heng? Zhao Yufei asked curiously. Zhao Ling coldly laughed. He's just lucky. He's biased against Brother Linlong. I'm biased against him? Zhao Feng almost burst out laughing. Who's biased against who? What are you laughing at? Let's make a bet. Zhao Ling flew into a rage. Chapter 51. Take a gamble? A mischievous smile appeared on Zhao Feng's face. What do you want to bet? The other geniuses of the Zhao clan looked at each other in confusion, but they all knew that Zhao Qing had always admired Zhao Linlong. Especially at this summit, Zhao Linlong had given a spot that should have belonged to Zhao Feng to Zhao Qing out of prejudice. Thus, Zhao Qing not only admired Zhao Linlong, but also felt grateful. Zhao Qing, forget it. We're all from the same clan. Let's not ruin our friendship. Zhao Qing advised. No. Zhao Qing's face turned red and green as he glared at Zhao Feng. Since you're so prejudiced against Brother Linlong, I'll bet on him. Do you dare? It was obvious that Zhao Qing was confident in Zhao Linlong's victory. Why not? Not only will I bet that Xi and Wu Heng will win, but I'll also bet that Zhao Linlong won't last more than 20 moves. Zhao Feng chuckled. What? The expressions of the Zhao clan geniuses changed as they looked at Zhao Feng in disbelief. Based on the current situation, Xi and Wu Heng and Zhao Linlong had a 50-50 chance of winning. Where did Zhao Feng get his confidence from to bet that Zhao Linlong wouldn't last more than 20 moves? Good. We'll wait and see. Everyone, please bear witness. The loser will have to apologize to the winner. Zhao Qing's eyes were about to spit fire. Very well. On the other hand, Zhao Feng looked relaxed. The other geniuses of the Zhao clan had a strange look on their faces. At the center of the summit, whoosh, Zhao Linlong used Shadow Step again, circling around Xi and Wu Heng. A few moments later, a few afterimages were destroyed. The golden-robed figure appeared once more, sweeping a leg towards Xi and Wu Heng's lower body at an astonishing speed. Bam! Xi and Wu Heng bent his legs and used a complete stage leg technique to deflect Zhao Linlong's kick. He blocked it again. Zhao Linlong's face was filled with bewilderment as he returned empty-handed once again. I don't believe it. Zhao Linlong didn't believe that anyone could break his shadow steps, let alone an opponent with a lower cultivation base than him. Xi and Wu Heng was unperturbed as he stood where he was. Occasionally, he would take a step or two to deal with Zhao Linlong. Zhao Linlong pushed shadow steps to its limits. He attacked a few times in a row, but all of his attacks missed. He even suffered merciless counterattacks from Xi and Wu Heng, which put him in a rather pathetic state. If not for the fact that his cultivation was higher than the other parties, he would have been completely suppressed. As expected, Zhao Linlong's movement technique is useless against him. Zhao Qi and Zhao Han stared at Zhao Feng in disbelief. Zhao Feng's assertion was obviously true. Puzzled, Zhao Qin and Zhao Yufei asked for the reason. Xian Wuheng has trained in a martial art that assists in hearing. Through his ears, he could determine his opponent's position and attack trajectory. Furthermore, he uses silence to counter attacks. Zhao Linlong's shadow steps is of no threat to him. Zhao Feng explained. Everyone focused their eyes and found that Xian Wuheng's ears were vibrating at an irregular frequency. If one didn't look closely, they wouldn't be able to see it. On the other hand, Zhao Feng's left eye could see more accurately. He found that the direction in which Xian Wuheng's ears were vibrating was Zhao Linlong's actual position. This meant that Zhao Linlong's movement technique could not confuse Xian Wuheng at all. Xian Wuheng could determine his position even with his eyes closed. This is just an unorthodox method. Brother Linlong's victory is just a matter of time, Zhao Ling said stubbornly. At this time, the two had already exchanged 5 or 6 moves. For the first 5 moves, Xian Wuheng could only defend passively. At the 6th move, Xian Wuheng suddenly counterattacked. Little Cloud, acupuncture hand. As Xian Wuheng blocked Zhao Linlong's attack, his other hand grabbed onto Zhao Linlong's arm at an unbelievable angle and speed. Open. Zhao Linlong's heart skipped a beat as he pushed Xian Wuheng's hand away. Even so, he still felt pain on his arm, leaving behind a bruise, causing his blood flow to stagnate. Xian Wuheng had trained all of his middle-ranked martial arts to the maximum level. Even with his cultivation of the 6th stage of the martial path, he still couldn't take it. Xian Wuheng's control of inner strength is undoubtedly more refined. He uses the smallest amount of energy to achieve the greatest damage. That attack just now had hit Zhao Linlong's joint acupoints, slightly reducing his strength. Zhao Feng saw everything clearly with his left eye. Cloud chest step. Xian Wuheng took the initiative to attack, using a movement technique that he had never seen before. It seemed as if he was advancing and retreating at the same time. This movement technique wasn't fast, but it was extremely strange. Every step was filled with changes. In Zhao Feng's eyes, it wasn't a movement technique, but a game of chess. I've never seen such a movement technique before. The geniuses on the summit shook their heads. Under that strange movement technique, Xian Wuheng's speed wasn't fast, but it caused Zhao Linlong to be flustered. Breaking wind finger. Xian Wuheng's trembling finger tore through the air in an unfathomable trajectory, merging with the strange footwork under his feet. Finger and movement technique. The two different martial arts seemed to have merged together to create an unpredictable attack. At the same time, Zhao Feng once again felt the same feeling from Xian Wuheng. What's going on? Zhao Linlong's eyes narrowed. Xian Wuheng's attack had given him an inexplicable shock. His opponent's attack seemed to have merged with a mysterious aura, and it was also strange. Break! Zhao Linlong's roar was like thunder. His inner force surged as he threw out a punch, taking the attack head-on. Poof! Xian Wuheng's body swayed, and he was forced to take 4 to 5 steps back from the impact of the powerful inner strength. Zhao Linlong let out a groan as he felt a numbing pain on his arm, causing him to almost lose consciousness. His right arm drooped down powerlessly. The geniuses on the summit were dumbfounded as they held their breaths. Xian Wuheng's attack is too strange. Some people were confused. Only a small portion of the geniuses on the summit could see through it, under the shadow of the trees. Fusing several martial arts of the perfection realm into one. What kind of monster is this? A silvery figure said in a low voice. This seems like the concept of a holy martial art. He doesn't just have the consciousness of a martial master, the other figure said in bewilderment. How could this be? Cold sweat appeared on Zhao Linlong's forehead. He was finally at a disadvantage since the start of the battle. At this moment, the two of them had only exchanged 7 moves. Xian Wuheng couldn't be defeated in 10 moves. Could it be that this rule could never be broken? Shuttle Cloud Finger. Zhao Linlong took a deep breath and finally used his most powerful peak-ranked martial art. Howling Tiger Fist. Xian Wuheng's face was expressionless, and he actually used a kind of fierce mid-level fist technique. Every one of his martial arts had reached the perfection stage and had even surpassed the limits of his martial arts. At this moment, Xian Wuheng threw out a punch, and his inner force burst out like a ferocious tiger. Boom! Boom! A finger and a fist clashed together, and a powerful gale swept across a radius of 5 to 6 meters. Zhao Linlong felt a pain in his finger. He felt that his opponent's fist was like a metal ball that contained a terrifying force. Although the power of a finger martial art was powerful, it was also very dangerous and weak in terms of defense. For example, Zhao Feng's star finger was even more dangerous. The slightest mistake could break one's finger. Xian Wuheng's punch was ferocious and domineering, containing a terrifying vibrational force. Tung! Zhao Linlong was at a disadvantage once again and immediately retreated. This was the first time that one side was on the losing side. Xian Wuheng closed in on Zhao Feng. Fist art, finger art, palm art, movement art. Many martial arts had reached the perfection stage. The 7th move, the 8th move, the 9th move, Zhao Linlong was completely suppressed, and his injuries weren't light, causing his strength to drop. If it wasn't for the fact that Zhao Linlong had the advantage in terms of cultivation, he would have been heavily injured in the previous few exchanges. Finally, at the 10th move, everyone held their breath. Shuttle cloud, piercing sky. Zhao Linlong poured all of his inner force into the finger. The moment the finger technique erupted, it was as if the wind and clouds were tumbling. A piercing howl tore through the night sky, leaving behind a terrifying purplish-green rainbow. What a powerful finger! Many of the geniuses at the summit were shocked. The people who were closer to them found it hard to breathe, and their hearts trembled. The power of this finger is close to my star finger. In the pavilion, Zhao Feng's expression changed. Interesting. Xian Wuheng smiled slightly and took a light breath. A condensed inner strength condensed his arm. A dark gray aura surrounded his arm like ripples. The degree of condensation of that inner strength even exceeded the limits of a qi accumulation martial artist. Zhao Feng's heart skipped a beat. He couldn't believe it. How'd he do it? Sweeping wind and clouds. Xian Wuheng waved his sleeve, and the wind roared like thunder. The rocks under his feet peeled off layer by layer, turning into a ring of dust. That wave seemed to stir the wind and clouds, sweeping through everything with disdain. This was clearly Xian Wuheng's strongest attack since his debut. Boom! 2 terrifying martial arts techniques collided with each other. Dust and qi waves danced wildly, almost forming a small whirlwind. At that moment, the 2 people in the middle of the arena were completely shrouded in dust. Only 2 blurry figures could be seen. The crowd of spectators was shocked. Powerful. So powerful. The geniuses all sucked in a cold breath. Compared to the clash between the 2, the rest of the geniuses were just playing house. It's hard to believe that this is a fight between qi cultivation rank martial artists. The final burst of power is probably close to the level of a 7th rank martial master. Some of the guests at the summit were quite knowledgeable. There were even 1 or 2 7th rank martial masters. Who? The night wind blew and the dust dispersed. 2 silhouettes appeared clearly. Xian Wuheng stood with his hands behind his back. His clothes were slightly tattered, his hair was messy, and his face was slightly red. Wah! Zhao Linlong's body trembled, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Plop! He supported himself with one hand on the ground. His face was filled with fear and unwillingness. Lost. Not only did he lose, he lost in the 10th move. 10 moves against Xian Wuheng. Could this be a rule that could not be violated? How could Brother Linlong lose? It's only been 10 moves. Zhao Ling was a little lost. For a long time, Zhao Linlong was his idol. He was grateful and admired him. Not long ago, he even made a bet with Zhao Feng. Lost in 10 moves? Zhao Feng himself was surprised. He had made a bet with Zhao Ling that not only would Zhao Linlong lose, he wouldn't be able to last more than 20 moves. At this moment, the geniuses of the Zhao clan looked at him strangely. Chapter 52. Zhao Linlong had been defeated. Zhao Feng's hair stood on end under everyone's stares. The result was as he had predicted. Zhao Linlong lost even more miserably than he had expected. Zhao Feng, how could you be like this? You're killing your own clan member. Zhao Qi frowned. No matter what, they were all from the same clan. Zhao Linlong's defeat was a matter of pride for everyone present. You jinx. Zhao Ling's face darkened as he gritted his teeth. It seemed that Zhao Linlong's defeat was due to Zhao Feng's assertion. You're blaming me? Zhao Feng shook his head with a smile and coldly said, You forgot about the bet just now. The loser has to apologize to the winner. Wager. Apologize? Zhao Ling's face froze. He was speechless. Just now, when the bet was made, everyone present had seen it. I can apologize to you for the wager, but I will never lower my head to apologize for your shameless behavior. Zhao Ling's voice trembled. His eyes filled with humiliation. A loss is a loss. Zhao Feng snorted disdainfully. You challenge Exine Wuheng if you have the guts. As long as you can last 10 moves, I'll admit defeat. Zhao Ling's words were incoherent as he spat, because Zhao Linlong could only last 10 moves against Exine Wuheng. Therefore, Zhao Ling retaliated. Just at this moment, Zhao Linlong fell off the stage. Exine Wuheng's eyes scanned the crowd before landing on Zhao Feng. Brother, would you like to come out and fight? The expressions of the geniuses of the Zhao family all changed. Zhao Ling, who was in the middle of a dispute, was also shocked. However, when he found out that Exine Wuheng's opponent was Zhao Feng, he gloated. Fine, as you wish. Let's see how many moves I can last against Exine Wuheng. Zhao Feng glanced at Zhao Qing playfully. Zhao Qing's hair stood on end under his stare, but he said firmly, If you can last more than 10 moves, I will sincerely apologize to you. This time, he didn't dare say 10 moves, but more than 10 moves. After all, Exine Wuheng's nickname was undefeated in 10 moves. 10 moves is too little. At least 30 moves? No, 50 moves. Zhao Feng smiled, leaving the members of the Zhao clan dumbfounded. Where did he get his confidence from? The members of the Zhao clan looked at each other in bewilderment. Shameless boasting. Zhao Linlong, who had just returned, also heard his words, and his face immediately darkened. Even he, the number 1 member of the Zhao clan, couldn't withstand 10 moves. How could the others have any hope? At the center of the summit, Zhao Feng leisurely walked over and looked at Exine Wuheng. He smiled and said, Thank you for thinking so highly of me. I, Zhao Feng, am here to seek guidance. My intuition isn't wrong. I believe that you are an opponent that I can put up a fight against. Exine Wuheng's expression was calm. You just had a sparring session. I'll give you 10 breaths to prepare. Zhao Feng said indifferently. This kid is too arrogant. The crowd was in an uproar. Did he take the wrong medicine? Does Exine Wuheng need to give him time to prepare? Let's wait for the show. The geniuses at the summit cursed and jeered. Ha ha! In the pavilion, Zhao Qing laughed so hard that tears came out of his eyes. After the chaos, everyone looked expectantly at Exine Wuheng. One had to know that Exine Wuheng didn't even take a breather when facing Zhao Linlong. Very well. Exine Wuheng looked at Zhao Feng meaningfully, then sat down with his legs crossed. What? The geniuses at the scene were dumbfounded. Zhao Qing's smile froze. Zhao Linlong's face was clouded. Why did Exine Wuheng value Zhao Feng so much? From Exine Wuheng's movements, it was obvious that he wanted to raise his condition to the peak, treating Zhao Feng as a real opponent. 1 breath, 2 breaths, 3 breaths. The crowd was dead silent, and everyone could hear each other's breathing. Finally, 10 breaths had passed. Exine Wuheng slowly got up, his complexion returning to normal, his breathing steady, and his energy returning to its peak. 10 breaths. You're indeed extraordinary. Exine Wuheng's deep eyes were fixed on Zhao Feng's face. Previously, he had sparred with others of the same cultivation level, and he had easily won them without expending much of his strength. But the battle with Zhao Linlong was a cross-level challenge, and he was slightly exhausted. Xi and Wuheng knew that he only needed 10 breaths to recover and return to his peak. Coincidentally, Zhao Feng had asked for 10 breaths. How could this be a coincidence? This accuracy made Xi and Wuheng stunned, and he couldn't help but take Zhao Feng seriously. Let's begin. When Zhao Feng faced Xi and Wuheng, he didn't feel nervous at all. In fact, he was excited and expectant. Lightly micro-step, his agile steps closed in on Xi and Wuheng, and he took the initiative to attack. Lightly micro-step was a peak high-ranked martial art, but when paired with lightly floating fairy, it was at least comparable to a peak-ranked martial art. As he activated the lightly floating fairy, Zhao Feng's every step was as light as a feather, as if he was one with the cool breeze of the forest. Angry Dragon Fist. Zhao Feng didn't play any tricks, he just threw a simple punch. He knew that Xi and Wuheng's senses far exceeded those of the same generation, and even exceeded the level of a martial artist. All tricks were useless in front of him. Angry Dragon Fist, middle-ranked martial art, complete mastery. Xi and Wuheng's expression turned cold, and he also used a complete mastery martial art to clash with Zhao Feng. Boom! Their fists collided with each other, producing a violent gale and shockingly strong chi wave. After the two palms collided, Xi and Wuheng's body shook slightly, but he didn't move. Whoosh! Zhao Feng used the momentum to move out of the circle, then turned around and attacked again. Breaking Wind Finger, Little Cloud, Acupuncture Hand. Xi and Wuheng's eyes were sharp, and he continuously used two complete middle-ranked martial arts. Zhao Feng still used Angry Dragon Fist to counter. Boom! Poof! After a few hits, Zhao Feng's arms suddenly became numb. Xi and Wuheng's two middle-ranked martial arts had reached complete mastery, and the sudden change in Little Cloud Acupuncture Hand caused him to be at a slight disadvantage. Little Cloud Acupuncture Hand specialized in hitting acupuncture points, and it had a certain degree of restraint against defensive martial arts. Angry Dragon Fist. Zhao Feng didn't advance, but retreated instead. Xi and Wuheng was shocked. He didn't expect Zhao Feng's metal wall technique to be so strong. The Little Cloud Acupuncture Hand didn't pose any threat to him. Little Cloud Steps. Xi and Wuheng's footwork moved in a strange manner, and he was temporarily defeated. This scene shocked all the young geniuses present. Xi and Wuheng had his reasons for choosing to retreat temporarily. First, Zhao Feng didn't seem to be affected by Little Cloud University hands, which was out of his expectations. Secondly, the might and aura of the following Angry Dragon Fist surpassed one's imagination. Angry Dragon Fist. When Zhao Feng punched, it was like a roaring dragon that could devour the mountains and rivers. It was also filled with spirituality, as if there was a real fire dragon roaring beside his ears. That punch was not only at complete mastery, but it had even surpassed it. In the next two moves, Xi and Wuheng was temporarily in a passive position, and he was almost suppressed. Fortunately, his Cloud Chest Steps was a self-created fusion of many footwork techniques. It was extremely bizarre, and he was able to turn the situation around very quickly. Cloud Chest Steps, Slight Micro Steps, two footwork techniques. One was strange, and the other was graceful. The two figures moved back and forth. In terms of speed and agility, Zhao Feng naturally had the upper hand. However, Xi and Wuheng's Cloud Chest Steps was extremely strange. It didn't seem like a footwork technique, but a setup. Xi and Wuheng's footwork might be at a disadvantage in the first few steps, but it might just be an ambush, and he would suddenly counterattack. The sixth move, the seventh move, Xi and Wuheng's advantage slowly turned around. Zhao Feng didn't purposely use his left eye, and he was forced into a passive position. Luckily, his metal wall technique was strong enough, and it was only at the 5th level, not the peak of the 4th level. Xi and Wuheng also felt troubled. His senses were comparable to a martial master, and he found that he couldn't truly injure Zhao Feng. There were a few times when Xi and Wuheng hit Zhao Feng's body, but it was as if he had hit a metal wall. There was even a faint rebound force. This caused him to be shocked and moved. He couldn't help but admit that Zhao Feng was hard to deal with. Firstly, Zhao Feng's reaction speed and awareness were very strong. Secondly, his footwork, movement, fist art, and defensive martial arts were all impeccable. Every single one of them was extremely powerful, especially his metal wall technique. Unless Xian Wuheng hit a vital spot, he wouldn't be able to cause much damage to Zhao Feng. Apart from that, Zhao Feng's speed was also better than others. His sparring with Qiu Changyi had already shown that his speed was one of the best in the younger generation. Xian Wuheng also realized that Zhao Feng's speed wasn't just that. All these factors allowed Zhao Feng to advance and retreat at will. The 8th move, the 9th move, the crowd of geniuses was dumbfounded, and many of them were shocked. Up until now, no one had exchanged more than 10 moves with Xian Wuheng. Zhao Qi lasted 6 moves. Qiu Changyi lasted until the 7th move. Zhao Linlong, who had the highest cultivation, lasted until the 10th move before he was defeated. At that moment, Zhao Feng lasted until the 9th move, seeing that he was about to reach the limit of 10 moves. Xian Wuheng's eyes were like lightning, and a rare battle intent appeared on his face. He used Cloud Chess Step and switched between several middle-ranked martial arts. When the middle-ranked martial arts were combined together, it created an unbelievable power. Star Finger. Zhao Feng's moves suddenly changed. He condensed his inner energy and pointed out a few times. Boom, boom, boom. The might of each finger could pierce through an iron plate. The power was condensed to the extreme. Under Zhao Feng's powerful eyesight, each finger was accurate, ruthless, and fast. The 9th move, the 10th move. Apart from the battle between the two, there was only dead silence. Sweeping wind and cloud. Xian Wuheng waved his hand, and a gust of wind blew like thunder. The rocks under his feet fell layer by layer and swept in all directions. This was the move that had defeated Zhao Linlong. 3 moves of Star Finger. Zhao Feng's fingertips screeched through the air, and an azure streak of light flashed by like a meteor. How is this possible? His Star Finger has reached the 3rd level. Zhao Linlong exclaimed. Whoosh! The sharp finger condensed to a point and exploded, piercing through the wind and dust as it collided with Xian Wuheng's sleeve. Boom! The rock fragments on the field turned into dust and dispersed. The 10th move. The 2 figures were inches away from each other, but they didn't move at all. Chapter 53. The 10th move. The geniuses at the summit held their breaths as they stared at the 2 figures in the dust. Zhao Linlong and Zhao Ling's faces were the ugliest. 10 moves. How could he? Zhao Linlong's face was dark. From the start of the summit until now, he was the only one who could withstand 10 moves from Xian Wuheng, even if he was defeated in the 10th move. At the same time, Zhao Feng, whom he had always looked down on, had also made it to the 10th move. As the number 1 genius of a Zhao clan, how could he allow such a thing to happen? Moreover, he was still faintly worried. If Zhao Feng, how could this be? Zhao Ling's face was pale. He had bet with Zhao Feng several times, but he had lost every single time. Zhao Feng's performance was on par with his idol, Zhao Linlong. It wasn't that he didn't lose, he surpassed him. When the dust settled, the 2 stood in the middle of the summit, facing each other. Xian Wuheng and Zhao Feng had their arms crossed, and their breathing quickened. There were some scratches on Xian Wuheng's body. He furrowed his eyebrows as if he was in pain. Zhao Feng stood where he was, his clothes slightly tattered. His blood boiled as he stabilized himself. Since he had reached the 5th level of the metal wall technique, he wasn't injured. In terms of defense, he was at a high point. In terms of speed, he had lightly floating fairy. In terms of offense, he had Star Finger. In all aspects, he was one of the best in his generation. He didn't lose after 10 moves. The geniuses at the summit were in an uproar as they discussed among themselves. Today, Xian Wuheng's legend of not losing after 10 moves had finally been broken. There was finally one person in his generation who could last 10 moves without losing. This scene was like a heavy hammer that struck Zhao Linlong and Zhao Ling Zhao Qi. Zhao Han and Zhao Qin looked at each other in shock. Who would have thought that there would be such a dark horse in the Zhao clan other than Zhao Linlong? No, He had long been a dark horse. From the outer ring of the clan martial meet, to the martial meet main competition, and then to the Genius Summit, Zhao Feng had always created miracles, breaking his own record. Amazing! Zhao Yufei's beautiful eyes flickered with extraordinary splendor. She was overjoyed and extremely excited. Humph! He just said that he would last 30 moves against Xi and Wuhan. No, 50 moves. Zhao Qing gritted his teeth. Although Zhao Feng's strength was not inferior to Zhao Linlong's, and was even slightly better than him, he was still not convinced. Xi and Wuheng, your so-called undefeatable 10 moves should have something to do with your cloud chess steps. With 10 moves, you can achieve the greatest effect with the least amount of power. A smile appeared on Zhao Feng's face. That's right. If you can withstand 10 moves, it means that your strength is equal to mine, or even above mine. Xi and Wuheng's eyes flashed. The two of them were very close to each other, so they could both launch lightning-fast attacks and secretly accumulate power. It was extremely thrilling. Hee, you are too humble, unless your cultivation is only limited to the peak of the 5th rank of the martial path. Zhao Feng said, with deep meaning. His words seemed to have a deeper meaning. Xi and Wuheng's expression suddenly changed, becoming more solemn. Flaming metal fist. Zhao Feng took the opportunity to attack. This time, he did not use Raging Dragon fists nor Starfinger, but the lowest rank foundational martial art, Flaming Metal Fist. At such a close distance, the simpler and faster the attack, the more effective it would be. And Flaming Metal Fist was without a doubt the most proficient martial art that Zhao Feng practiced. But Xi and Wuheng was not to be trifled with. His senses exceeded the level of a martial artist, comparable to a martial master. The moment Zhao Feng gathered his inner strength and threw out a punch, Xi and Wuheng reacted and retreated with his palm. Pung! The fist and palm clashed, and Xi and Wuheng was forced back. His blood flow was shaken, and he almost suffered some internal injuries. Zhao Feng had trained metal wall technique, so he had the advantage in terms of defense and defense. He also had the initiative, so his punch was obviously better. Raging Dragon fists. Zhao Feng chased after Xi and Wuheng as he pushed his inner strength to the peak of the 5th rank. 10 moves later, Zhao Feng had the upper hand, and he continued to press forward. The geniuses were shocked to the core. No one had thought that there would be a new talent in Sun Feather City that could compete with Xi and Wuheng. 11 moves, 12 moves, 13 moves. Within 20 moves, Zhao Feng had the upper hand and the upper hand. His left eye could see that Xi and Wuheng's blood flow was churning, and he had suffered some internal injuries. He didn't give Xi and Wuheng any time to recover. Xi and Wuheng had to retreat in defeat to gain some time to catch his breath and recover from his internal injuries. But Zhao Feng's left eye saw everything, and he didn't give Xi and Wuheng any chance. The geniuses were all dumbfounded. In the pavilion where the Zhao clan was, Zhao Linlong's face was dark, and he clenched his fists. The strength that Zhao Feng had displayed wasn't much stronger than him. Why was he able to compete with Xi and Wuheng without losing? Under the shadow of the tree. TSK Tisk, interesting. To think that a small Sun Feather City would produce 2 geniuses at the same time. The potential of these two would be at least in the top 5 of their generation in Guangzhou Province City. A dark silver figure said, "We have to report this to the Lord, in case other forces get here first." Another person said cautiously. In the middle of the mountain, the 2 figures were locked in battle. 20 moves, 21 moves, 22 moves. After 20 moves, Xi and Wuheng's disadvantage was slowly turning around. His cloud chess step was good at using slow speed to counter fast speed. He tried his best to avoid clashing with Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng's strength was too strong, and when he used Starfinger, his attacks were comparable to those at the peak of the 6th rank. This meant that even if Zhao Linlong, who was at the 6th rank of the martial path, fought with Zhao Feng head-on, he would still be at a disadvantage. Xi and Wuheng could only avoid it and gain some time to recover. 30 moves, 35 moves. Finally, after 30 to 40 moves, Xi and Wu Hing managed to turn the tables. The battle between the two was getting more and more dangerous. After Xi and Wu Hing stabilized the situation, he no longer defended passively. Sometimes he would counterattack, combining cloud chess step. But Zhao Feng's reaction was fast, and he could see through Xi and Wu Hing's moves at the most critical moment. How'd he do it? Does he have the same senses and consciousness as a martial Dao master like me? Xi and Wu Hing was shocked. 50 moves, 60 moves? It was a draw. Plop. Zhao Ling's face was ashen as he sat on the ground. He had made a bet with Zhao Feng that if Zhao Feng could last 10 moves, he would lose. Zhao Feng laughed. 10 is too little. At least 30, maybe even 50. At this moment, the battle between the two had reached more than 60 moves, but it was still hard to determine a winner. 60 moves? 70 moves? The frequency of the two's attacks became higher and higher. Finally, it was 80 to 90 moves. Xi and Wu Hing took a deep breath. Many mid-ranked martial arts were integrated into one, and the aura of power that complemented his surroundings became stronger. This kind of power was similar to that of the young girl in the Blood Python Canyon, but it was much weaker. Facing this intent, Zhao Feng felt as if he was an ant fighting against the heavens. That feeling made it hard for him to breathe, and it was a little stifling. After 90 moves, Xi and Wu Hing's every move was like a stroke of the gods. Zhao Feng's left eye slowly opened, and on his eyeball, there was a faint green luster that was hard to detect. In that instant, he entered the supervision interface, and Xi and Wu Hing's movements were slowed down by more than 10 times. Whoosh! In the dark space of his left eye, a shadow that looked like Xi and Wu Hing repeatedly attacked, and the process and details of each attack were replayed. The shadow's moves contained a kind of power, and it was easier to understand than the young girl's. After comprehending the young girl's mysterious wind palm, Zhao Feng could learn it immediately when facing Xi and Wu Hing's power. Open. Zhao Feng unhurriedly merged the air-crossing breathing technique, light micro-steps, and flaming iron fist into one. His body also produced a strange power that was similar to Xi and Wu Hing's. Ha! Zhao Feng pushed Xi and Wu Hing back with one palm. Tongue. Xi and Wu Hing's body retreated, and his face was filled with shock. What's going on in his palm? He had a strange feeling that the intent in Zhao Feng's palm seemed to have been plagiarized from him. If that was really the case, then it was too terrifying. Xi and Wu Hing's heart turned cold, and he took a deep breath, condensing his inner strength to the extreme. His perception was comparable to a martial master, and the degree of condensing his inner strength far exceeded that of a chi-cultivating martial artist. In other words, martial artists under the 7th rank of the martial path couldn't compare to Xi and Wu Hing's inner strength. This was also one of the reasons why Xi and Wu Hing could beat Zhao Linlong with his cultivation of the 5th rank of the martial path. But what he didn't know was that Zhao Feng's left eye was able to see all the changes in his inner strength. So that's how it is. Zhao Feng had some understanding of that power, and he quickly learned Xi and Wu Hing's inner strength condensing technique. Star Finger. Zhao Feng's finger pierced through the air, and a green light flashed, and it was more condensed and powerful than before. Star Finger was a finger technique that specialized in concentrating and condensing inner strength. After comprehending some of Xi and Wu Hing's intent in condensing inner strength, Zhao Feng's 3rd level of Star Finger had increased by a bit. Great! Star Finger is nearing the peak of the 3rd level. Zhao Feng was overjoyed. He really wanted to thank Xi and Wu Hing. Firstly, he would be able to comprehend that mysterious concept from the other party. Secondly, he had learned the inner strength condensing technique of a martial master. 91 moves, 92 moves. Zhao Feng became more and more courageous as he fought. Although Xi and Wu Hing wasn't at a disadvantage, he wasn't able to gain any advantage. What made him even more disappointed was that Zhao Feng's potential was increasing at an alarming rate. The other party's intent seemed to have come from nothing, and the condensation of inner strength was also of the same lineage as his. What kind of monster was this? Xi and Wu Hing couldn't help but admit that he had met his nemesis. He was an expert in creation, But Xian Wuheng's comprehension had reached a heaven-defying level. 95 moves, 96 moves. The two's fight was approaching the 100th move. Everyone held their breaths, and their eyes were filled with excitement as they waited for the final result. According to the rules, the fight would stop when it reached the 100th move, and the host and the guest would discuss the outcome. However, when it reached the 99th move, Tung, Xian Wuheng took a step back and leapt tens of meters into the air, then landed on the ground and said, "That's enough." Chapter 54. That's it. The hearts of the young geniuses present shook. Could it be that Xian Wuheng had some sort of trump card? Zhao Feng stood on the spot and slowly circulated his inner strength. His face was filled with anticipation. In terms of offense, he had Star Finger, but he hadn't used his strongest Star Finger yet. In terms of defense, his Metal Wall technique had reached the 5th level, so he was fearless against anything below the 7th rank. Furthermore, Zhao Feng's real cultivation was hidden at the 6th rank of the martial path. Xian Wuheng's face was calm as he slowly put his hands down. His inner strength returned to normal. Zhao Feng's expression was weird and surprised. "I admit defeat," Xian Wuheng said expressionlessly. "Admit defeat? How could this be?" The crowd was in an uproar. Many young geniuses were confused. Admit defeat? Xian Wuheng admitted defeat. The young geniuses from all over the place, including some of the esteemed elders, were astounded to the point that their jaws almost dropped to the ground. No one had expected Xian Wuheng to admit defeat at the 99th move. From the looks of it, Zhao Feng and Xian Wuheng had a 50% chance of winning. He beat Xian Wuheng. Zhao Qing slumped to the ground, his eyes lifeless and his back drenched in cold sweat. He finally realized what kind of person he had offended. Not only had Zhao Feng surpassed the number 1 Zhao Linlong, he had also made Sunfeather's number 1 genius Xian Wuheng admit defeat. "No, you didn't lose," Zhao Feng said seriously as he stared at Xian Wuheng. His left eye was extremely sensitive to inner strength and inner strength. When his left eye's power reached a certain level, the outline of Xian Wuheng's clothes became faint, revealing the lines of inner strength and inner strength. Zhao Feng could clearly see that Xian Wuheng's inner strength was half a level higher than Zhao Linlong's. Therefore, Xian Wuheng's cultivation wasn't at the peak of the 5th rank of the martial path. His real cultivation was at the peak of the 6th rank. Peak of the 6th rank. This meant that he had stepped on all the geniuses in Sun Feather City. When he first sized up Xian Wuheng, Zhao Feng had already seen some clues. At that time, he had exclaimed, "This person is not simple." Of course, Zhao Feng wasn't afraid of the powerful Xian Wuheng. Not only was he strong, he also had the help of his left eye. Even if Xian Wuheng revealed his full cultivation, he would not lose. There's no point in continuing to spar. Xian Wuheng shook his head. Yes, he didn't lose, but he also didn't want to reveal his true cultivation and even stronger trump cards. There were 2 reasons for this. Firstly, he was 2 years older than Zhao Feng, so he disdained to use his cultivation to suppress others. In the previous battles, Xian Wuheng had always suppressed his cultivation base to the same level as his opponent. When he fought against Zhao Linlong, he even challenged someone with a higher cultivation base. Secondly, some of Xian Wuheng's moves and concepts were shamelessly plagiarized by Zhao Feng. From Xian Wuheng's point of view, his opponent was a monster. The more he revealed, the easier it would be for his opponent. How about this? We'll call a draw. Xiao Mingyu recovered from the shock and used her identity as the host to settle. Draw? Zhao Feng and Xian Wuheng looked at each other and nodded their heads. Fine, let's do it. Zhao Feng agreed and didn't force the issue, so they continued to spar. After all, according to the rules of the summit, sparring would not exceed 100 moves. I'll look forward to meeting you again in the future. Xian Wuheng smiled calmly. Then, he leaped up and left the Summit of Geniuses. This situation caused everyone to be shocked and puzzled. Was Xian Wuheng leaving halfway? No one knew. After Xian Wuheng left, he never appeared in Sun Feather City again. His existence became a mystery in Sun Feather City and was gradually forgotten by the people. Only after a long time did Zhao Feng meet him again. The summit was still ongoing. The battle between Zhao Feng and Xian Wuheng shocked everyone and pushed the summit to its climax. After that, the sparring between geniuses became boring. Up until now, the ranking of the four great geniuses had been roughly determined. First place, Zhao Feng and Xian Wuheng were tied. Third place, Zhao Linlong. Fourth place, Qiu Mingyu. Looking at the situation, there shouldn't be any dispute over this ranking. But this time, there was more than one black horse. This little girl is Zhao Yufei. I would like to learn a thing or two from you. Zhao Yufei's smile was like a flower, like a lotus coming out of the water, pure and moving. As she went up, she attracted the attention of many of the young geniuses. Who is she? The Zhao clan has such a talented beauty. The crowd discussed. Zhao Yufei was so young, but she already had the cultivation of the 5th rank. This potential was only second to Zhao Feng. But Zhao Feng understood that his rise was because of the mysterious left eye. If it wasn't for him, then Zhao Yufei was the most talented person in the Zhao clan. Even Zhao Linlong couldn't compare to Zhao Yufei when he was at the same age. Furthermore, Zhao Yufei came from a branch family, so her training resources couldn't compare to Zhao Linlong's. A young genius of the 5th rank jumped out from the Xian family. This person was called Xian Shun, ranked second in the Xian family, just below Xian Wuheng and even higher than Xian Tong. In the sparring before, Xian Shun had only lost to geniuses like Zhao Linlong and Qiu Mingyu. In terms of strength, Xian Shun and Zhao Qi were about the same, and his strength was the closest to the great geniuses. Butterfly leaf palm. Zhao Yufei's figure was as light as the wind. Her palms were soft and gentle. Her first move was a high-rank palm art, butterfly leaf palm, which was close to the peak. Pa, pa, pa. The two figures exchanged fists and palms as Zhao Yufei's body danced in the air. After exchanging 10 moves, Zhao Yufei easily suppressed Xian Shun by a level. In terms of the power of her palm art, Zhao Yufei was on par with Zhao Qi, however. Her inner force was trained in the air crossing manual, and she had learned some of the essence of it. Her level was almost on par with Zhao Feng's. The air crossing technique had amplified her movement technique, footwork, and offensive martial arts. The combination of these martial arts could suppress those of the same rank. After dozens of moves, the power of Zhao Yufei's martial arts increased again. Her palms were soft but powerful, and with each attack, her power increased. She is also trained in a high-level body-enhancing martial art, similar to Qiu Mingyu. Xian Tong was shocked. From the looks of it, Zhao Yufei's body-enhancing martial art wasn't any weaker than the metal wall technique, but it was more suitable for women. She has a lot of potential, and I'm afraid she's hiding her true strength. Zhao Feng suddenly thought of Zhao Yufei's grandfather, the mysterious old man with a broken arm. It was incredible that the old man with a broken arm could use a high-level martial art like the metal wall technique. After 30 moves, Zhao Yufei's palms danced in the air and knocked Xian Qin down. Zhao Yufei won. The young geniuses looked at each other in shock. It was the second time that a dark horse had appeared at the summit. This was another dark horse. Zhao Yufei rested for a while, then continued to challenge Qiu Changyi. Qiu Changyi was one of the older geniuses. Although he might fall this year, his strength was unquestionable. Flowing feather step, flowing feather flying cloud. Qiu Changyi used the footwork and body movements of the same origin. In particular, his movement technique had been cultivated to its peak. It could be said to be the best of his generation, and only Zhao Feng could compare to it. Cloud Leaf Fairy. Zhao Yufei's lightness skill suddenly changed, and she used a never-before-seen lightness skill. In that instant, her body became as light as a leaf, and her movement technique was as fast as smoke, spinning in the air. Moreover, when combined with the air-crossing mantra, her lightness martial art received great benefits. Cloud Leaf Fairy? What kind of lightness skill is that? It's almost as good as my lightly floating fairy. Zhao Feng was shocked. At this moment, he vaguely realized that using the air-crossing mantra to trade for the Iron Wall technique seemed to be a loss. Or rather, it was not that he had suffered a loss, but that the air-crossing manual was too useful for Zhao Yufei. The speed at which this inner force mental cultivation method was condensed was very fast, and the addition to footwork and movement techniques far surpassed other inner force martial arts. Moreover, the higher the level, the more powerful the air-crossing manual would be. Zhao Feng even guessed that this inner force skill might be a top-tier martial art. It seemed that he had suffered a loss. While Zhao Feng was weighing the pros and cons, the battle suddenly changed. Qiu Chang'e was at a disadvantage. In terms of speed, Qiu Chang'e could no longer gain the upper hand. In fact, Zhao Yufei's Cloud Leaf Fairy was even more powerful. After 50 to 60 moves, Qiu Chang'e was defeated, and his face turned pale. After defeating Qiu Chang'e, Zhao Yufei was only half a step away from becoming one of the top geniuses. Finally, at the end of the summit, Zhao Yufei issued a challenge to Qiu Mingyu. The battle between the two beauties pushed the summit to its climax. In this battle, Zhao Yufei's Cloud Leaf Fairy shone brightly, and she was able to hold her own against Qiu Mingyu. The air-crossing manual allowed Zhao Yufei to launch a series of attacks, and she had the upper hand for a while. After 100 moves, the two girls were evenly matched, and the crowd gasped. There was a new change in the ranking of the top geniuses this year. The 5 top geniuses were Xian Wuheng, Zhao Feng, Zhao Linlong, Qiu Mingyu, and Zhao Yufei. Among them, the Zhao clan was the most outstanding, and 3 of them had become one of the top geniuses. The Xian family and Qiu family of the 3 great families felt a great sense of crisis and pressure. Qiu Mingyu and Qiu Chang'e looked at each other with worry on their faces. The top geniuses of the Zhao clan were too terrifying. Apart from Zhao Linlong, there were also Zhao Feng and Zhao Yufei. Especially Zhao Feng. His rise was like a miracle, and he was ranked first with Xian Wuheng. But Xian Wuheng was older than Zhao Feng. In terms of overall strength and potential, Zhao Feng was the real number 1. Mingyu, at the back of the summit, an elder in a gray robe said in a deep voice. "Elder," Qiu Mingyu said respectfully, "there's something that I need you to do. It's very important." The elder in a gray robe said in a low voice. The summit gradually came to an end. The geniuses of the Zhao clan walked out of the pavilion and were about to go down the mountain. Zhao Feng, in particular, felt many respectful and fearful gazes. Some of them were filled with jealousy and hostility. Zhao Feng, don't think that you're invincible just because you're ranked first. I haven't used my trump card in this summit. Zhao Linlong stared at Zhao Feng coldly with a sense of confidence. Chapter 55. His real trump card? Zhao Linlong's words surprised the geniuses of the Zhao clan. Zhao Feng could only think of the 3rd floor of the martial arts library. That day, he had seen Zhao Linlong step onto the 3rd floor with his own eyes. But in this summit, the strongest martial art Zhao Linlong used was still the spatial cloud finger. If he really had a trump card, why didn't he use it? Zhao Feng's lips curled into a smile. Then there was only one reason. Zhao Linlong hadn't fully comprehended and digested what he had gained from the 3rd floor of the martial arts library. Under the shadow of the tree, 2 dark silver figures watched the beginning and end of the summit. Remember, the Xian family and the Zhao family each have a genius. Go back and report to the master, one of the silver figures said. Shua! 2 dark silver figures flashed and blended into the night. Who is it? The 2 had only moved a few hundred meters when a shout came from the front. Tung! An old man in a gray robe jumped down from the tree. His eyes were like torches as he stared at the 2 uninvited guests. Hee, I can't believe I met a 7th-level martial Dao master. Guard 17, I'll let you practice. One of the silver figures chuckled and flashed away. Who dares to enter the Xian family's territory? The old man in a gray robe's eyes were sharp as he thrust out his palm. Boom! A golden palm energy, like an invisible palm of air, sliced through the night sky and struck out like thunder. Under the terrifying inner force, The surrounding trees and rocks were peeled off layer by layer. Inner force of the martial Tao, attacking through the air. This was the level of a chi breaking stage martial Tao master. The power of that palm could kill a 4th or 5th level martial Tao master from a distance. Child's play. The dark silver figure raised a hand and pointed a finger. Whoosh! A sharp dark green finger energy, like a spear of light, sliced through the air and shattered the old man's palm energy. In the next second, the two figures clashed with each other at a speed that exceeded the reaction speed of normal martial artists. Bang! A crater with a diameter of a few meters was left on the ground, and a powerful shockwave swept out for more than 10 meters. The power of their battle was comparable to that of a high-tier fierce beast in the sky cloud forest. Wow! The gray-robed old man spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was pale as he roared. "Who are you? Aren't you afraid of being hunted down by my Chiu family?" The Chiu clan was after all one of the 3 great clans of Sun Feather City, and their influence spread over 1,000 miles. In Sun Feather City, the 3 great clans were considered as powerful forces. Chiu family? My master can destroy your tiny clan with a single thought. The silver figure sneered, turned into a shadow, and blended into the night. Where did those 2 people come from? Look at their clothes. Not good. Could it be the legendary Guanjuan Core? The gray-robed elder sucked in a breath of cold air. Guanjuan Core. These 3 words caused him, who was at the 7th stage of the martial path, to feel a chill down his spine. Sun Feather City was only a small city in the Cloud Country, and the Chiu family was one of the powers in this small city. However, above Sun Feather City, there was a large province city. The province city was ranked even higher than a normal city, and it governed many smaller cities. The province city that Sun Feather City belonged to was called the Guanjuan Province City, and it governed 12 smaller cities. The Guanjuan Corps were the elite guards of the Guanjuan province. The Guanjuan Corps had always been restricted to rumors, and no one knew about them. It was said that the Guanjuan Corps had a total of 18 guards, and each guard had the strength of a martial master. What is the meaning of the Guanjuan Corps coming to Sun Feather City to watch the summit? Could it be the wish of that person? The gray-robed elder didn't understand. He knew that the Guanjuan Corps represented a powerful force, and if they wanted to destroy the Chiu family, it would be as easy as killing an ant. The summit ended. The youth from all over Sun Feather City left in groups of 3 to 5. There were a total of 7 people from a Zhao clan, and they walked down the mountain silently. On the way, Zhao Linlong's face was filled with anger, and no one dared to offend him. However, Zhao Feng's thoughts were on the other side of the night. With his left eye, he saw a frightening battle in the distance from a few miles away. It was the battle between the Guanjuan Corps and the elder of the Chiu family. The power of a battle between martial masters made Zhao Feng's heart tremble. The Xin family's elder's cultivation had reached the 7th stage of the martial path. With a single strike, the inner strength of the martial path burst out of his body like lightning, shattering metal and shattering metal. With that kind of power, even if 10 or 100 martial disciples came, they would still be killed in an instant. Even normal martial disciples were as weak as babies. This is the power of a martial master. If the 7th rank of the martial path is already so strong, then there's the 8th, 9th, and the legendary peak martial grandmasters of the 9th rank, as well as martial masters of the Sage realm. While Zhao Feng was shocked, he also looked forward to it. As the Zhao family walked down the mountain, a few disciples of the Chiu family walked towards them. The one leading them was a young girl. "Young Master Zhao Feng, please wait," the young girl said respectfully. Zhao Feng looked curiously at the disciples of the Zhao clan. "My young mistress would like to invite you over." The young girl was dressed like a servant, but her cultivation had reached the 3rd rank of the martial path. "Your young mistress?" Zhao Feng was slightly shocked. "My young mistress is the eldest daughter of the Chiu family, the host of the summit, Chiu Mingyu," the young girl said with a smile. "Chiu Mingyu? The most beautiful girl of Sun Feather City?" The other youths of the Zhao clan were shocked, Then they revealed envious expressions. Some of the youths tried to chase after Qiumingyu, but none of them succeeded. But Zhao Feng was invited by the most beautiful girl of Sun Feather City. What kind of honor was that? Qiumingyu was not only the genius of the Qiu family, she was also the eldest daughter of the Qiu family. Okay, Zhao Feng thought for a while, then nodded his head. Qiumingyu was, after all, a famous genius beauty in Sun Feather City. She was also the host of this summit, so it was hard for him to reject her. Young Master Zhao, please follow me, the young girl said politely as she led the way. Oomph. Zhao Yufei watched Zhao Feng's back as he left. Her lips twitched, as if she was dissatisfied. Could it be that Qiumingyu has fallen for Zhao Feng? Zhao Qi said in shock. The others thought about it, and felt that it made sense. Zhao Feng had won first place with Xi and Wuheng in this summit. What's more, Zhao Feng was young, so his potential was even greater. The young miss of the Qiu family was very likely to extend an olive branch and invite this young genius. How dare he? Zhao Linlong laughed coldly. The others exchanged glances. Everyone knew that the Qiu family and the Zhao family were enemies. If Zhao Feng dared to join the Qiu family, it wouldn't be a simple betrayal. Following the young girl, Zhao Feng walked forward. Not long later, they returned to the summit. Young master, please. The young girl led Zhao Feng to a quiet and elegant bamboo building. Walking into the building, he opened the door. Zhao Feng soon saw the most beautiful girl of Sun Feather City. Her hair was like a waterfall that reached her waist. She wore a green dress that made her look elegant and noble. Just looking at her back was enough to make one's heart beat faster. As she slowly turned around, Qiumingyu's hair fluttered in the wind, revealing her beautiful face. Her eyebrows were like willow leaves, and her eyes were like the autumn water, full of love. Compared to Zhao Yufei, Qiumingyu was more charming. She was like a half-ripe fruit, red and full of fragrance. Being in the same room as the most beautiful girl of Sun Feather City, Zhao Feng's eyes only paused for a second before his heart calmed down. As a 14-year-old youth, this level of composure was rare. One had to know that even some adult martial artists would find it hard to resist Qiumingyu's beauty. Qiumingyu sighed in her heart as admiration appeared in her eyes. At such a young age, not only was his strength outstanding, he also had such composure. It was unbelievable. Young Master Zhao, please sit. Qiumingyu slowly walked in front of him. At this moment, the two were inches apart. Qiumingyu's fragrance, breath, and warmth were all clearly felt by Zhao Feng. If it was any other man, their blood would boil and they wouldn't be able to control themselves. But Qiumingyu was quiet and gentle. She personally poured tea for him. Her every move, every smile, was full of charm. Zhao Feng took the teacup naturally, but he couldn't avoid touching Qiumingyu's jade-like fingers. It was smooth like snow, giving him a feeling of ecstasy. He didn't know if it was intentional, but Qiumingyu's eyes were misty and filled with tenderness. She was standing so close to him. To be able to be so close to the most beautiful girl of Sun Feather City was a dream come true for other youths. However, Zhao Feng's face was expressionless. In reality, if he wanted to look at Qiumingyu, there wouldn't be any difference even if they were a few miles apart. The mysterious ability of his left eye became even more powerful as his cultivation increased. If Zhao Feng wanted to, he could even see through things. Qiumingyu didn't know any of this, or else she would have avoided Zhao Feng. Young Master Zhao's appearance today is indeed shocking. Your name is enough to make Sun Feather City famous. Qiumingyu's voice was soft and sweet like the drizzle. Zhao Feng replied politely, but he was curious. Why did Qiumingyu invite him? He was still young and didn't know much about the relationship between a man and a woman. He didn't know that Qiumingyu's every move, smile, voice, and expression were all full of charm. Part of this was because of the mysterious left eye, which made Zhao Feng calmer than others, which made him more resistant to temptation. During the conversation, it was Qiumingyu asking questions and Zhao Feng answering. Zhao Feng's performance was like a block of wood. Qiumingyu cursed in her heart. Was it because she wasn't charming enough, or was he too young? Zhao Feng's performance had completely ruined her original plan of seducing him with her beauty. Young Master Zhao, are you interested in joining the Qiu family? As long as you're willing, Mingyu can promise you anything, including martial arts, silver, and even a beautiful wife. Qiu Mingyu's body was almost touching Zhao Feng's body. Zhao Feng revealed a trace of caution as he pulled away. After thinking for a while, he finally understood Qiu Mingyu's intentions. Qiu Mingyu's face blushed. She felt powerless facing the youth in front of her. Thank you, Miss Qiu, for your offer, but my ambition isn't in Sun Feather City. Zhao Feng slowly stood up and said, Ambition isn't in Sun Feather City. Qiu Mingyu's heart couldn't help but tremble as she looked at the youth's figure and left. The youth's figure in her vision seemed to be slightly heroic, as if he was going to shake the heavens in the future. Chapter 56. Sending Zhao Feng off with her eyes, Qiu Mingyu fell into a daze. On the surface, Zhao Feng looked like a 14-year-old youth, but the calmness in his eyes and the indescribable penetrative power didn't seem to belong to a human. Even Zhao Feng himself didn't realize that the mysterious left eye had changed his body, bloodline, and even his personality. Tung, a youth dressed like a scholar, landed next to Qiu Mingyu. It was Qiu Changyi. Mingyu, that kid left already? Even most beautiful girl of Sun Feather City failed. Qiu Changyi was slightly surprised. He failed. He doesn't seem like a normal youth. Qiu Mingyu shook her head bitterly. Suddenly, an old voice sounded, Don't worry, Mingyu. I didn't expect the first plan to succeed. A gray-robed old man had appeared behind the two of them at some point. Greetings, Elder. Qiu Mingyu and Qiu Changyi immediately bowed respectfully. This summit was hosted by the Qiu family, so there were obviously elders behind the scenes. The gray-robed elder was an elder of the Qiu family. Not long ago, he had fought with the mysterious Guanjuan core and was heavily injured. His face was slightly pale. Mingyu, you've successfully stalled him for the time it takes for half an incense to burn. The second plan is ready. Killing intent flashed in the gray-robed elder's eyes. Elder, are you really going to kill him? Qiu Mingyu couldn't bear it. This kid's talent is terrifying. One day, the Zhao clan will become unstoppable, and there will be no place for the Qiu family. The gray-robed elder said, Elder, if Zhao Feng dies, the Zhao clan will suspect us. Qiu Changyi was slightly doubtful. Haha, what's the value of a dead genius? Not to mention that Zhao Feng is from a branch family. Plus, this plan is extremely well thought out. Zhao Feng won't die near the Qiu family's territory. A mysterious smile appeared on the gray-robed elder's face. Shua. With that, his figure flashed and merged into the night. His speed was 2 times faster than Qiu Changyi, who was known for his lightness. How unfortunate. Qiu Mingyu and Qiu Changyi looked at each other with pity. After bidding farewell to Qiu Mingyu, Zhao Feng went down the mountain alone. At this time, the Genius Summit had already ended, and there were only a few people on the road. For some reason, Zhao Feng felt uneasy, as if he was being spied on. A wisp of invisible killing intent threatened him, causing his left eye to twitch slightly. Zhao Feng quietly opened his left eye. Suddenly, a faint green luster appeared on the surface of his left eyeball. In the night, his eyes became even deeper, like a bottomless abyss. Zhao Feng immediately entered the familiar supervision interface. The pitch-black night was as bright as day under his left eye. Everything within a radius of 10 li could be seen at a glance. If it was daytime, the distance could be doubled. His field of vision could even zoom in and out. If he focused, he could clearly see ants on a tree 5 kilometers away. This kind of super senses gave him a kind of confidence and calmness that dominated everything. Whoosh! With a quick scan of his left eye, Zhao Feng suddenly saw a figure standing on a tree a few hundred meters behind him. That figure was wearing a gray robe, and under the cover of the trees, normal people wouldn't be able to detect him. However, Zhao Feng's eyes, could clearly see the opponent's figure in figure. It's him. Zhao Feng's heart skipped a beat. He had seen the gray-robed old man before. Before, when the gray-robed old man and the mysterious silver figure clashed, he had seen the entire process with his left eye. Not good. This person is most likely an elder of the Chiu family, and he wants to kill me. Zhao Feng's thoughts spun. His performance at this summit was too shocking, and it made the higher-ups of the Chiu family feel a sense of danger. Luckily, I still have the true cultivation of the 6th rank of the martial path. Zhao Feng didn't show any signs of panic, and used his normal speed to return to the Zhao clan's original path. He was getting closer and closer to the Zhao clan's territory. Zhao Feng felt weird. Why hasn't he made a move yet? He opened his left eye and observed his surroundings. After entering the Zhao clan, there was still a secluded area about 6 to 7 miles away. Zhao Feng was sure that this was the only place he could make a move on. Why would he make a move near the Zhao clan's territory? Thinking about it, Zhao Feng soon understood. If Zhao Feng died near the summit, it would definitely attract the suspicion of the Zhao clan, and they would point the spearhead towards the Chiu family. Because the location of the summit was near the Chiu family's territory. The Chiu family's plan was to let Zhao Feng die near the Zhao clan's territory. That way, the Zhao clan would have no evidence, and it would be hard for them to investigate. What a brilliant plan! Zhao Feng's heart went cold, and he secretly circulated his inner strength, heading towards the Zhao clan's main gate. As long as I reach the Zhao clan's main gate, there are many guards there. Even if the Chiu family had 100 guts, they wouldn't dare to make a move. Zhao Feng made up his mind. Thinking about that, he sped up. This kid hid his strength. His true speed is even faster than Changyi's. The gray-robed elder's speed also increased. 6 miles. 5 miles. 4 miles. Zhao Feng was getting closer and closer to the Zhao clan's main gate. So. At this time, 2 figures jumped out from the Zhao clan's main gate. Looking at their clothes, they should be the elders of the Zhao clan. This was good news for Zhao Feng. If there was an elder of the same clan here, the person behind them would have to be careful. His left eye scanned the area and saw the 2 people's faces. The 2 were both middle-aged, and their cultivation had reached the 6th rank of the martial path. Especially one of the faces, Zhao Feng saw it clearly. It was extremely familiar. It's him, Zhao Tianjian. Zhao Feng was slightly shocked. One of the middle-aged men of the 6th rank was Zhao Yijian's father, Zhao Tianjian. Zhao Tianjian and the other person, intentionally or unintentionally, headed in Zhao Feng's direction. Zhao Feng suddenly had a bad feeling. If it was any other elder, he wouldn't be suspicious. But one of them was Zhao Tianjian, which immediately raised his guard. Stop him. We must kill him quickly. Zhao Tianjian said to the middle-aged man of the 6th rank next to him. There was a distance between the 2, and it was late at night. Zhao Tianjian didn't know that Zhao Feng had already seen his face with his left eye. Shush! The gray-robed old man who was following behind also suddenly sped up. It could be said that they were working together. Zhao Feng felt a sense of danger. He wasn't afraid of Zhao Tianjian and the other person, but the elder of the Chiu family. The cultivation of the elder of the Chiu family had reached the 7th rank of the martial path. He was no longer a martial artist, but a martial master, lightly floating fairy. Zhao Feng's body suddenly lightened and his speed increased. His inner strength was almost at the 6th rank. What a fast speed! Zhao Tianjian and the other person's expressions changed as they split up to block Zhao Feng's path. If they couldn't kill Zhao Feng quickly, then their identities as spies in the Zhao family would be exposed. Either the fish dies or the net breaks. Kill! The 2 cultivators of the 6th rank almost reached Zhao Feng at the same time. Cold flowing sword. Zhao Qianjin's treasured sword left its sheath and turned into a cold stream of sword light, giving off a chilling aura. Zhao Feng had experienced cold flowing sword from Zhao Yijin before, so he naturally knew how powerful it was. At this moment, Zhao Tianjin's cold flowing sword had reached the peak, and his cultivation had reached the peak of the 6th rank. His sword attacks were terrifying. Tyrannical wind fist. A deep gust of wind came from his side. The other middle-aged man of the 6th rank attacked at the same time. two old 6th rank cultivators ganging up on a junior of the 5th rank. This was obviously an unfair fight. Furthermore, there was still the Chiu family elder's trump card. If there was an accident, the Chiu family elder would be able to deal with it quickly. Lightly floating fairy. Lightly micro-step. Zhao Feng used the two martial arts to the extreme in a moment of danger and dodged the first round of attacks. Zhao Tianjian and Lin Fan weren't like Zhao Linlong, who had just entered the 6th rank. Their skills were incomparably sharp, and their battle experience was the same. At the moment of danger, Zhao Feng's lightly micro-step had reached its peak level. Along with lightly floating fairy and air-crossing breathing technique, he successfully dodged the barrage of attacks. One finger star. Zhao Feng's aura suddenly changed as his inner strength reached the 6th rank. Puchi, a faint green finger mark, flashed like a meteor, bringing with it an extremely condensed inner strength as it hit Zhao Tianjin's sword. Dang! Zhao Tianjin's hand went numb as the sword in his hand broke. At the same time, an extremely condensed inner strength rushed into his body like a needle and exploded with a shocking amount of power. Wah! Zhao Tianjian immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was full of shock. One finger star? How did you learn it? In your cultivation? One finger star. This was the signature move of Starfinger. Once this move was used, it was unrivaled amongst those of the same rank. With Zhao Tianjian's peak 6th rank cultivation, his weapon had been shattered by the one finger star, and he had suffered heavy internal injuries. Die! Zhao Feng pointed out a few more azure dots of light, and although it wasn't his killing move, one star finger, it was still able to increase Zhao Tianjian's injuries, and he looked like he was about to die. Tyrannical Wind Fist. The other martial artist of the 6th rank roared as he attacked from behind to save Zhao Tianjian. The two never would have thought that Zhao Feng had reached the 6th rank, and what was even more terrifying was that he had learned one finger star. If Zhao Feng wanted to kill Zhao Tianjian, he would have to take an attack from the ladder. Die! Zhao Feng ignored the attack from behind and once again used one finger star. The faint green finger mark flashed like a meteor, beautiful in the night. Ha! The finger hit its target. Ah! Zhao Tianjian's body stiffened. There was a bloody hole in his chest, and his internal organs were shattered. Plop! An expert of the 6th rank had died on the spot. This was because of the power of one finger star, but it was also because of Zhao Feng's metal wall technique. Tyrannical Wind Fist. Almost at the same time, the martial artist of the 6th rank behind him attacked with all his might. Ha! Zhao Feng couldn't dodge that punch. All he could do was adjust his back and avoid being hit in his vitals. Bang! The middle-aged martial artist's face twisted into a smile as his fist landed on Zhao Feng. The elder of the Chiu family in gray robes also had a smile on his face. To be able to kill Zhao Feng, Zhao Tianjin's death was nothing. Metal wall strike. Zhao Feng yelled as he infused his inner strength into the metal wall technique. His body was like a metal wall as a rebounding force exploded from it. Bang! The middle-aged martial artist only felt a frightening tremor. His blood churned, and blood flowed from the webbing between his thumb and forefinger. That punch felt like it had struck an iron wall. Tung! 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 He groaned in pain and took a few steps back. He was so shocked that his face turned pale. Chapter 57. Iron Wall Killing. This sudden change caused the middle-aged martial artist and the gray-robed elder behind him to turn pale with fright. The metal wall technique was one of the more famous body tempering techniques. It was rare for a martial artist to reach the 4th stage of the technique. However, Zhao Feng's metal wall technique had reached the 5th level. The 5th stage of iron wall technique not only increased the user's physical strength and defense, but it also had the ability to counterattack. In a group fight, Zhao Feng could severely injure a 4th or 5th rank martial path martial artist with this move. The middle-aged cultivator had attacked from behind, not expecting this move at all. His fist landed on Zhao Feng's body, but he was knocked away by the strong force. His blood boiled, and he almost suffered some light injuries. One-finger star. While he was distracted, Zhao Feng didn't hesitate to use his strongest attack. Puchi. The faint green light flashed and pierced through the middle-aged man's body. Plop. Another sixth-rank martial path martial artist died on the spot. The eyes of the gray-robed elder, who was holding the line in the rear, shrank. His face was filled with shock, and he almost froze for a moment. Lightly floating fairy. Without thinking, Zhao Feng used his lightness skill to the maximum and flew towards the Zhao clan's gate. At this time, he was only 3 miles away from the Zhao clan's gate. With his speed, he would be there in no time. Kid, where do you think you're going? The gray-robed old man let out a startled cry. Like a gray specter, he chased after him at an even more terrifying speed. Although Zhao Feng's lightness skill was good and his speed was comparable to the other youths in the Sun-Crowned City, the enemy behind him was not a martial artist, but a martial master of the Broken Chi stage. Martial arts were split into 9 stages, and every 3 stages was a stage. The 4th to 6th grades belonged to the Chi accumulation stage of martial artists. From the 7th to the 9th layer was the Chi breaking stage of the martial master level. Once a martial artist reached the Broken Chi stage, he would be called a martial master. The difference between the 2 stages was not just a difference between the stages, but the difference between 2 stages. Zhao Feng used his lightly floating fairy to the maximum and felt the sound behind him getting closer and closer. So fast, Zhao Feng estimated that the other party's speed was almost twice as fast as his. Once a martial artist broke through the Breaking Chi stage, it was as if they were flying through the air. Their inner strength could flow out of their body, and their power could not be compared to before. 10 breaths later, the gray-robed old man was only 10 feet away from Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng took a deep breath and activated air crossing breathing technique with all his might. Lightly floating fairy also exceeded his usual limits. Under such a crisis, Zhao Feng's speed increased by a fraction or 2. His lightly floating fairy was only half a step away from reaching the great success realm. This kid can't be allowed to live. The gray-robed elder's heart trembled. Zhao Feng's terrifying potential made him feel uneasy. If such a genius were to stay in this world, within 10 years, he would become the scariest person in Sun Feather City. He was close. It was getting closer. Zhao Feng was only 2 miles away from the gate of the Zhao clan. But at the same time, the gray-robed elder gradually approached. Die, young man. The gray-robed elder struck out with his palm. The golden palm energy was like a palm of chi, carrying a gust of wind. It traveled for a few meters and hit right in front of Zhao Feng. As a martial master, the gray-robed elder did not need to get close to his opponent. He could attack from afar. Poof! The invisible palm energy and the gust of wind hit Zhao Feng first. Lightly floating fairy. Zhao Feng's chi and blood were compressed and circulated. His body that was still in midair suddenly gained strength. Tung! He actually leapt out in midair for the second time. And with the help of his opponent's palm energy, he leapt 20 meters away, far exceeding his usual limit. What? The gray-robed elder's attack missed. Run. As Zhao Feng ran, he let out a loud roar, trying to alert the people in the distance. Die. Void force. I know it too. The gray-robed elder's body floated in midair, and he had actually used void force twice in a row. As an elder of the Chiu clan, his martial arts were naturally top-notch and had reached great success. Tung. Zhao Feng was not easy to deal with either. At the critical moment, he barely managed to use void force twice. But this way, the two of them quickly closed in on each other. The two figures landed on the ground at the same time. Cloud-splitting palm. The gray-robed elder struck out with his palm, and the golden palm energy pierced through the air, causing the surrounding wind to swirl. Just that palm energy alone could kill a martial master of the 5th rank. Pung! Zhao Feng used the metal wall technique to resist the inner force, but he suffered some light injuries. If it was a martial master of the same rank, he would have been severely injured or even lost his ability to fight. When a martial master in the 7th layer of the martial path unleashed his inner strength, it would be slightly weaker than an attack from the main body. After all, the power had left the body. If one reached the 8th rank of the martial path, the power of the Void Force would be close to a physical attack. Legend has it that some experts of the 9th rank of the martial path had the power of their inner strength through the air, even surpassing their physical attacks. Furthermore, their power was vast, and they could kill more than 10 martial disciples and martial artists with a single palm. Luckily, the gray-robed elder was only a martial master of the 7th rank, and it was hard to find a martial master of the 8th rank in Sun Feather City. After Zhao Feng took the attack head-on, he once again used the force to leap forward. Cloud splitting mountain. Right at this moment, the gray-robed elder had closed the distance and sent a golden wave of air towards Zhao Feng's body. This was an attack that a martial master couldn't dodge. If it was any other martial artist of the 6th rank in Sun Feather City, they would either die or lose half their life. Under the pressure, Zhao Feng pushed his left eye to its limit. The gray-robed elder's movements slowed down, and the changes in his inner force were all under Zhao Feng's control. Even the gray-robed old man's internal injuries and the slightest flaw did not escape his left eye. Mysterious wind palm. At this critical moment, Zhao Feng used a weird move. Boom! A faint aura suddenly appeared on Zhao Feng's body. In that instant, he merged with the young girl's palm that he had seen in the dimension of his left eye. Because he had absorbed Xan Wuheng's relatively simple intent, the move that Zhao Feng used was more powerful than before. What kind of move is this? The gray-robed elder felt that this palm had the advantage of time and place. Mysterious wind palm. Zhao Feng's figure leapt into the air as a faint azure aura surged around his body and condensed at the center of his palm. It followed a unique trajectory and slowly slashed out. That palm seemed to have borrowed the power of nature to increase its power. Cloud-splitting mountain. Mysterious wind palm. Two tyrannical forces collided together. Boom! At the same time, a hole was left on the ground, and dust swirled around. Zhao Feng felt a wave of inner force rush into his body. Even the 5th level of the metal wall technique couldn't block it. The true difference between them was the difference in their cultivation. Wah! Zhao Feng spat out a mouthful of blood and leapt into the air. Ow! The gray-robed elder's body stiffened as blood leaked out of his mouth. If there was a third person here, they would be shocked. A martial master of the 7th rank had been injured in a fight with a junior. In terms of single-target power, Zhao Feng's palm couldn't surpass Starfinger. However, the concept contained in this palm strike, as well as the level of the martial art, had surpassed a top-notch martial art. There was a kind of suppression between martial arts. Above peak ranked martial arts were wholly ranked martial arts, and the difference between the two was like heaven and earth. The mysterious wind palm that Zhao Feng had used had the advantage over the gray-robed elder. This was one of the advantages. Secondly, Zhao Feng's metal wall technique had reached the 5th level, which made his strength stronger than the gray-robed elder. This was the second advantage. There was one last advantage. The gray-robed elder had been injured when he fought with the mysterious Guanjuan core. However, Zhao Feng's left eye could see his injuries and flaws, so his palm also aimed at his injuries. Therefore, the gray-robed elder had lost more than half of his battle strength. If he didn't rest for an hour, his life would be in danger. Zhao Feng wanted to drag him down with him even if both sides were injured. Ha! Until next time. Zhao Feng let out a long laugh. His body regenerated in the air, and he flew toward the gate of the Zhao family. The gray-robed old man's face was pale, alternating between green and white. His expression was gloomy and unwilling as he gnashed his teeth. But his injuries were too severe, and his fighting power was greatly diminished. He could only watch as Zhao Feng fled. Zhao Feng flew towards the Zhao clan's gate. His left eye saw the departure of the gray-robed elder. He blended into the night and went further and further away. Zhao Feng took a deep breath and immediately swallowed a pill before returning to the Zhao clan's inner area. In the courtyard, Zhao Feng sat cross-legged as he circulated his inner strength to absorb the pill. My injuries aren't light. I'll need at least half a month to fully recover. However, the elder from the Chiu family was even more injured than me. Zhao Feng murmured to himself as excitement appeared on his face. To be able to escape from the hands of a martial Dao master and win a lose-lose situation, he could be proud of himself. However, Zhao Feng knew that the reason why he was able to win was because his opponent was heavily injured and his mysterious wind palm had hit him. In the next few days, Zhao Feng stayed in his room and focused on recovering. While he was recuperating, he could not practice metal wall technique, star finger, lightly floating fairy, or other martial arts. Zhao Feng spent most of his time comprehending the two scenes in the dimension of his left eye. These two scenes were from a young girl in the Valley of the Blood Python and Xian Wuheng. Xian Wuheng's intent was relatively easy to comprehend. Zhao Feng had already comprehended 60 to 70% of it at the summit, and he was able to unleash 80 to 90% of it when he fought against the gray-robed elder. In these 2 days, he had basically comprehended the intent of Xian Wuheng's moves. Then, Zhao Feng started to comprehend Mysterious Wind Palm and Star Finger. Although Mysterious Wind Palm was only one move, it was extremely difficult and slow to progress. Zhao Feng could only put more effort into comprehending Star Finger. Compared to Mysterious Wind Palm, Star Finger was much easier. Especially after Zhao Feng completely comprehended Xian Wuheng's intent, it became easier for him to comprehend Star Finger. Slowly, Zhao Feng's understanding of Star Finger reached the 4th level. Of course, this was only in terms of intent. His mastery of Star Finger was barely at the peak of the 3rd level. In the first few days, he was heavily injured and couldn't practice it. When his injuries were about 70 to 80% better, Zhao Feng started to practice. Puchi, Puchi, Zhao Feng's finger kept pointing out, and his inner strength became sharper and sharper. The technique of condensing inner strength from Xian Wuheng allowed Zhao Feng's Star Finger to improve by leaps and bounds. Puchi, a faint green beam of light, shot out from Zhao Feng's fingertip and tore through the air a meter or so. Puchi, there's a small hole on the wall, about the width of an index finger. Sky-piercing finger force completed. Chapter 58. The air-piercing finger force was completed. Zhao Feng's heart skipped a beat as a hint of joy appeared on his face. At this moment, if there were other martial artists present, they would be shocked. Could it be that this young man's cultivation had already reached the 7th rank of martial Dao master? Everyone knew that only martial artists of the 7th or 9th rank of the Qi breaking stage could condense their inner force through the air. This was a level that ordinary martial artists could only dream of, yet were unable to reach. However, Zhao Feng wasn't a martial Dao master, and his cultivation had only reached the 6th rank not long ago. All of this was thanks to the 4th rank of Star Finger. The 4th rank of Star Finger could condense a finger force through the air, so there was no need to reach the 7th rank of the martial path. Of course, this top-tier martial art was several times more difficult to cultivate than other martial arts of the same rank. Even Zhao Yusong had stopped at the 3rd rank. Zhao Yusong had speculated that the Star Finger might be a half-holy martial art. Even some geniuses would need to be at least at the 7th rank to reach the 4th rank of Star Finger. Therefore, people like Zhao Feng, who could condense a finger force through the air before reaching the 7th rank, were almost unheard of. Break! Zhao Feng's index finger pointed through the air again, and a light green finger force pierced through the air and hit the window 2 meters away. Poof! The paper window was pierced, and a small hole was left. The remaining force of the finger force carried a sharp gust of wind, and a sharp piercing sound could be heard. Star Finger had just reached the 4th rank, so its power wasn't that great. At most, it was equivalent to half the power of Zhao Feng's attack. Even so, Zhao Feng could still kill an ordinary martial artist with a finger force through the air. In the next 2 days, Zhao Feng consolidated his practice of the 4th rank of Star Finger. In his mind, he further perfected the concepts that he had learned from Xian Wuheng and the young girl. Among them, Xi and Wuheng's internal force condensing method made Zhao Feng's progress of star finger extremely fast and even stronger. Poof, poof, poof. Zhao Feng's index finger pointed at the air repeatedly and actually released a few finger energies. Now, within a range of 2 meters, his long-distance finger force was equivalent to 60 to 70% of his main body's attack power. If the distance was more than 2 meters, the power of the finger force would be greatly weakened and might even dissipate. If Zhao Feng wanted to, he could use Star Finger to kill most of the martial artists below the 7th level with one finger. In the dimension of his left eye, the light green halo expanded to 6 feet 2 to 3 feet. If he meets the Elder again, Zhao Feng is confident that he won't be in such a difficult situation again. Whoosh! When Zhao Feng walked out of the room, the air outside was filled with an intoxicating fragrance. Brother Zhao Feng has been in seclusion recently. I think he must have made a breakthrough. Zhao Yufei walked over with a smile on her face. I had some enlightenment after the Genius Summit, Zhao Feng said with a smile. He had been in seclusion for the past few days, mainly to recover from his injuries. That night when he clashed with a Martial Path 7 stage master, he was also heavily injured. Hearing this, Zhao Yufei's interest was instantly piqued. Being neighbors, the two often met and sparred. Zhao Feng still controlled his cultivation to the 5th rank of the martial path, and when he sparred with Zhao Yufei, he would occasionally use his aura, which was the advantage of the time and place. Zhao Yufei's improvement was unbelievable. She had also learned a peak-ranked martial art, Spiritual Wind Slash. Her jade-like hands emitted layers of faint purple chi, the inner strength of the martial path condensed into a sharp blade on the surface of her palm. She slashed out in a strange and unpredictable manner. The power of each slash could easily cut through rocks and iron. Her attack power was astonishing. Spiritual Wind Slash? When did Yufei learn a peak-ranked martial art? Zhao Feng said in surprise. Zhao Yufei's Spiritual Wind Slash was no weaker than his Star Finger. The advantage of Spiritual Wind Slash was its sharpness and speed. On the other hand, Star Finger chased after the ultimate condensing of attacks. At the 4th level, one didn't need to be at the 7th rank of the martial path to be able to use it from afar. Yufei became one of the top geniuses at the Genius Summit and brought glory to the family. This is a reward from the upper echelons of the Zhao clan. Zhao Yufei said happily. There was such a thing? Zhao Feng was shocked. He had been in seclusion for the past few days, so he didn't know much about the outside world. Did brother Zhao Feng not get a reward? This time, it was Zhao Yufei's turn to be confused. No, Zhao Feng shook his head. His ranking at the Genius Summit was higher than Zhao Yufei's, and he was even ranked first in his generation. It was impossible that he didn't get a reward. You can ask the elders in the family about this. Zhao Yufei didn't understand. While sparring with Zhao Yufei, Zhao Feng also heard another shocking news. The Xian Wuheng, who was ranked first with him at the Genius Summit, suddenly disappeared from the face of the earth after withdrawing from the summit. It's been 10 days since the summit. Could it be that Xian Wuheng just disappeared without a trace? Zhao Feng furrowed his eyebrows. He felt that this matter wasn't that simple. After the Genius Summit, he was chased by the elders of the Qiu clan. Could it be that Xian Wuheng was also chased by them? Zhao Feng shook his head. He couldn't understand these things. Moreover, Xian Wuheng had no relationship with him, nor did he have any relationship with him. After sparring, Zhao Feng said goodbye to Zhao Yufei and left the house. Since Zhao Yufei got a reward, I should get one as well, Zhao Feng thought to himself. He was very confident. No matter what, he had won first place at the Genius Summit. Now that Xian Wuheng had disappeared, he was the unshakable #1 in Sun Feather City. Not long later, Zhao Feng arrived at the martial arts library and saw Zhao Yusong. Uncle Zhao. Zhao Feng had a smile on his face as he greeted the elder of the martial arts library. You're looking for me to ask about the reward from the clan, right? Zhao Yusong looked tired. He knew Zhao Feng's intention. That's right. Zhao Feng didn't hide it. Zhao Yusong looked at him, his eyes showing more appreciation. You were able to get first place at the Genius Summit. This achievement is beyond my expectations. Uncle Zhao is flattering me. If it wasn't for Uncle Zhao's care, it would have been hard for me to tie with Xian Wuang. Zhao Feng said modestly. Not arrogant, not rash. You are indeed a talent. A few days ago, I asked the clan leader to let you enter the third floor of the martial arts library. Zhao Yusong paused. The third floor of the martial arts library. Zhao Feng's heart beat faster. In the Zhao family, the third floor of the martial arts library had always been a legend, not open to the public. The second floor, Xuanwu Pavilion, already had a few top-ranked martial arts. Then what rank of martial arts would there be on the third floor of the martial arts library? Zhao Linlong's arrogance that day at the Genius Summit was obviously because he had something to rely on. It was most likely related to the third floor of the martial arts library. Although the third floor of the martial arts library doesn't have any saint rank martial arts, there are some incomplete saint rank martial arts for geniuses to comprehend. For those with insufficient cultivation, even if they entered the third floor of the martial arts library, it would be meaningless. For a long time, the third floor of the martial arts library has never been opened. However, Zhao Linlong, for the first time, obtained a chance to enter the third floor with a cultivation below stage 7. Zhao Yusong explained. The third floor of the martial arts library. So that's how it is. Zhao Feng had a look of realization. Zhao Linlong had won first place in the clan's martial gathering. His talent surpassed many generations of Zhao clan disciples. And as the adopted son of the Zhao clan, he was granted an exception to enter the third floor of the martial arts library. Thank you, Uncle Zhao, for fighting for this chance for me, Zhao Feng said gratefully. Unfortunately, this old man never expected that the family head would actually refuse. Zhao Yusong shook his head and sighed. Rejected? Zhao Feng's heart went cold, and he felt very unhappy. Zhao Linlong had only won first place in the same generation of Zhao clan and was granted an exception to enter the third floor of the martial arts library. But he had won first place in the entire Sun Feather City. So why couldn't he enter the third floor of the martial arts library? Was it because he was a branch disciple, and Zhao Linlong was the adopted son of the Zhao clan? Patriarch, why did you reject it? Zhao Feng took a deep breath. He wanted to hear the patriarch's reason. Let me ask you, after the Genius Summit, did you meet the number 1 beauty of Sun Feather City, Qiumingyu? Zhao Yusong asked in a low voice, his body emitting a strong pressure. The pressure of the 7th rank of the martial path was like a mountain pressing down on him, making it hard for him to breathe. That's true. Zhao Feng paused, then he understood. The Zhao clan and the Qiu clan had always been enemies in Sun Feather City. As a branch disciple, it was easy for others to gossip about him if he accepted Qiumingyu's invitation. The bodies of Zhao Tianjian and Qiumingyu died from a skill similar to Star Finger. Zhao Yusong stared at him as he continued. Star Finger? Without batting an eyelid, Zhao Feng pretended to be surprised. Does the clan suspect that I killed these two? I don't believe it. With your cultivation of the 5th rank of a martial path, how could you kill them? Zhao Yusong shook his head. Indeed, Zhao Tianjian and Qiumingyu had both reached the peak of the 6th rank. They belonged to the older generation of the Zhao clan, and they both trained in top-ranked martial arts. Anyone with a normal mind would know that the killer wasn't Zhao Feng. Of course, that was only according to common sense. Zhao Yusong would never have thought that the real killer was right in front of him. But someone told the head that you met with Qiumingyu after the Genius Summit. That night, Zhao Tianjian and Qiumingyu died near the entrance of the clan. Zhao Tianjin's son, Zhao Yijian, and a few other high-ranking members of the Zhao clan suspect you of colluding with the Qiu clan to kill his father. Zhao Yusong took a deep breath as his tone became solemn. Firstly, it was a fact that Zhao Feng and Qiumingyu met in private. Secondly, Zhao Tianjian and Qiumingyu were enemies with Zhao Feng, and they died on the night that Zhao Feng came back. These two reasons caused Zhao Feng to be suspected by the head and high-ranking members of the family. At the end of the day, he was just a branch disciple. Although there was no evidence the head and the high-ranking members of the family still refused to let him enter the third floor of the martial arts library. Then who was the one who told me about this? Zhao Feng's eyebrows furrowed as he thought to himself. That night, the people who went down the mountain with him were Zhao Linlong, Zhao Yufei, Zhao Han, and a few others. Among them, the one who was closest to the head was Zhao Linlong. Zhao Linlong was overshadowed by Zhao Feng at the Genius Summit. How could he be willing to accept that? The high-ranking members of the family have ordered that before the truth is clear, you are not allowed to leave the Zhao clan's territory. Zhao Yusong sighed helplessly. What? Zhao Feng's eyes narrowed as he felt a chill down his spine. He took a deep breath. Is this the order that the family gave me? Chapter 59. Is this a house arrest order from the family? Zhao Feng felt as if a bucket of cold water had been poured over him. He had won first place in the Genius Summit, but instead of being treated as a hero, he had to face a house arrest order? Of course, he was an idiot. The person who was in cahoots with the Qiu family wasn't him, but Zhao Tianjian and Qiu Yu. That night, when he returned to the Zhao clan, he was attacked from both the front and the back. It was obviously premeditated. Qiu Mingyu's meeting with him was to buy time and set everything up. Once the plan succeeded, Zhao Feng would die near the Zhao clan's own gate. How would the Zhao clan investigate? Furthermore, a dead genius, a branch family disciple, wasn't worth the Zhao clan's attention. But now, the person who was in cahoots with the Qiu family was the one to complain. Don't worry, Zhao Yusong said solemnly. This matter will be solved. As long as I am here, they won't be able to do anything to you without evidence. Thank you, Elder Zhao. Zhao Feng was full of respect and gratitude towards the elder in front of him. In fact, if it wasn't for Zhao Yusong supporting Zhao Feng, he would be facing more than a house arrest order. A house arrest order? I don't plan on going out anyway. Let's see what you can do. Zhao Feng laughed coldly in his heart, but he didn't bother to explain. He was just a branch family disciple, and the higher-ups of the family didn't trust him. If he were to explain the truth, he would have to reveal his true cultivation and strength, which would lead to a series of problems. Back home, Zhao Feng's injuries had mostly healed as he cultivated. His cultivation had reached the 6th rank of the martial path, and his strength was close to the peak in Sun Feather City. Only a small number of martial masters could threaten him. Apart from them, Zhao Feng didn't even care about some of the older martial artists or the elders of his clan. One day, I will leave the Zhao clan and Sun Feather City to see the outside world. Zhao Feng had such a wish in his heart. He no longer had much sense of belonging to the Zhao clan. Ever since that day in the Blood Python Valley, where he saw the young girl and the other mysterious people, he had been yearning for the outside world. In the dimension of his left eye, the young girl's mysterious palm was being practiced over and over again. To this day, Zhao Feng was still unable to comprehend the true essence of that palm. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed. Zhao Feng counted the days. He had just turned 14. These days, he naturally cultivated diligently. The two high-grade martial arts, deft micro-steps and withered tree-breathing technique, had both surpassed the peak and reached the initial stage of completion. Ever since he had comprehended Xian Wuheng's aura in the dimension of his left eye, as well as the young girl's mysterious wind palm, Zhao Feng's understanding of high-ranked martial arts became much easier. This was like asking a martial Dao master to practice some low-level and mid-level martial arts. It was naturally effortless. Even the peak-ranked martial art, Starfinger, didn't pose much of a challenge to Zhao Feng. At this moment, Starfinger was not far from the peak of the 4th level. Zhao Feng's finger attacks became much easier, and he even had the urge to challenge those of the 7th rank of the martial path, even if his chances of winning weren't high. On the day that Zhao Feng turned 14, the Zhao clan welcomed an important guest. Within the Zhao clan, a few core members of the clan gathered, including the head of the clan, Zhao Tiansong, and 3 elders of the Zhao clan. At this moment, almost all of the core members of the Zhao clan were present. Apart from Elder Zhao Yusong, who was in charge of the martial arts library, who couldn't be present, The other elders were all present. "What ability does the Zhao family have for Grandmaster Yi to come to my home?" The head of the clan, including Zhao Tiansong, looked up at the figure sitting at the head of the hall. The figure sitting at the head of the hall wasn't the head of the clan anymore. It was a green-robed man, tall and handsome. He was about 35 or 36 years old, and he had a restrained aura around him. He looked like a normal person who hadn't reached the martial path yet. But his every action and every breath made the upper echelon of the Zhao family uneasy, as if they were sitting on pins and needles. Only those who had reached the 7th rank of the martial path would be able to feel how terrifying this man was. His cultivation had reached a peak, and all of his aura was extremely restrained. I've heard that the Zhao and Xian families of Sunfeather City have both produced geniuses, and I've come under the orders of Lord Guanjuan to investigate. Grandmaster Ye's eyes shone brightly, and when it came into contact with them, it was as if a candle was trying to compete with the moon. Hearing this, the head of the clan, Zhao Tiansong, and the others were shocked, and their breathing became heavy. Lord Guanjuan, cold sweat appeared on Zhao Tiansong's forehead, and the others' eyes were filled with respect, fear, and worship. As the leaders of a small city under the Guanjuan province city, how could they not know of Lord Guanjuan's name? The Sun Feather City that the Zhao clan was from was only one of the 12 cities under the Guanjuan province city. The Guanjuan province city controlled 12 cities, and its ruler was Lord Guanjuan. As for Lord Guanjuan, his story was like a legend. Lord Guanjuan was one of the 7 great marquises of the Cloud Country. His cultivation had reached the peak, and his martial power was unparalleled. It was said that he had once killed 18 masters of the 7th rank of the martial path and a general of the 9th rank of the martial path. It was said that in a beast horde, Lord Guanjuan had killed 5 high-tier deadly beasts with one slash, and every single one of them was as strong as the double-winged sword-tooth tiger that Zhao Feng had met in the Sky Cloud Forest. It was said that he had reached the peak of the 9th rank of the martial path before he was 30. Now that tens of years had passed, it was said that Lord Guanjuan had reached the holy martial path. It didn't matter if the rumors were true or not. Lord Guanjuan was undoubtedly one of the most powerful figures in the country. In front of such a figure, how small was the Zhao clan? And today, this Master Yi, in front of them was the representative of the most powerful figure in the Guanjuan province city, and he had come to the Zhao clan. At this moment, the upper echelon members of the Zhao family looked at each other. Their gazes were filled with fear and joy. "May I ask which genius of the Zhao clan Master Yi is interested in?" The head of the clan, Zhao Tiansong, wiped the sweat off his forehead, but his expression was still uneasy. Not mentioning the legendary Lord Guanjuan, even this Master Yi, in front of him had reached the 9th rank of the martial path, and he could be Lord Guanjuan's right-hand man. The 9 ranks of the martial path were extremely difficult, and the further one went, the harder it was to break through. In the entire Sun Feather City, the highest cultivation was at the 7th rank, and it might be a few ancestors who had reached the 8th rank. With the strength of this Master Yi, killing a normal 7th rank martial master wasn't any harder than killing a cat or dog. It could be said that the entire Zhao clan didn't have much power to resist in front of him. According to the news from the Guanjuan Palace, the Zhao clan and the Xian clan both have a genius, but I'm not sure what their names are. But I just went to the Xian family, and the result was disappointing. Saying this, Master Yi couldn't help but shake his head. Obviously, he had gone to the Xian family, but he had returned empty-handed. After the summit, the strongest genius of the Xian family, Xian Wuheng, had disappeared from the face of the earth. Now that a month had passed, there was still no news of Xian Wuheng in Sun Feather City. And apart from Xian Wuheng, there were no other geniuses in the Xian family, at least in the eyes of someone of Master Ye's level. This, Master Yi doesn't know the name of that genius, so we can't tell who it is. Zhao Songtian's eyes flashed. Master Yi said calmly, "Isn't that simple? Call out the most outstanding genius of a Zhao clan." Zhao Songtian and the others exchanged looks with each other. The most outstanding genius of the family could only be chosen between Zhao Linlong and Zhao Feng. However, Zhao Feng had just been grounded and was suspected of colluding with enemy forces, so he was treated coldly. Haha, can Emir Zhao clan pick out the most outstanding genius? Master Yi sneered, and his aura started to appear. In an instant, the flowing wind in the hall suddenly stopped. Zhao Tiansong and the others felt a chill run down their spines. An invisible aura made it hard for them to breathe. There's one, Zhao Tiansong quickly said. My son Zhao Linlong has the highest cultivation amongst the youths of the clan. He's not even 18 yet, but he's already reached the 6th rank of the martial path. A few days ago, he even comprehended a partial holy martial art. Zhao Linlong. The other elders were slightly startled, and then nodded in agreement. Indeed, in terms of cultivation, Zhao Linlong was indeed the best amongst his peers. Moreover, he had comprehended some of the profound meaning of the incomplete sage state martial arts. Even some of the older martial masters could not do this. Oh, let him come out and have a look. Master Ye's eyes flashed with interest. Someone summoned Zhao Linlong. A loud voice spread out. After a while, Zhao Linlong, who was wearing a loose golden robe, walked into the hall and greeted the family leader and the elders one by one. When he found out that the person sitting at the head of the hall was not the family leader, his heart was filled with shock. And looking at the situation, the elders, including the family leader, were respectful to the man in the azure shirt. Reaching the 6th rank of the martial path at the age of 18 is not bad. Master Yi nodded slightly, but there was no surprise in his eyes. Not bad. Zhao Linlong felt wronged, but he couldn't do anything. The core members of the Zhao clan were also slightly shocked and felt a strong sense of defeat. One had to know that in the entire Sun Feather City, only Zhao Linlong had reached the 6th rank of the martial path before the age of 18. Of course, they didn't know that Xian Wuheng and Zhao Feng had also reached the 6th rank of the martial path. Xian Wuheng had even reached the peak of the 6th rank, and both of them were younger than Zhao Linlong. Zhao Linlong was already 17, close to 18. On the other hand, Zhao Feng had just turned 14. Even if he was only at the 5th rank of the martial path, his talent and potential were higher than Zhao Linlong's. Show me your martial art, Master Yi said expressionlessly. Yes, Master Yi. Zhao Linlong's heart was filled with excitement. From the gazes of his godfather and the others, he vaguely understood that this was a chance to change his fate. Shuttle Cloud Finger, Zhao Linlong exclaimed and performed his best finger skill. At the same time, his shadow step, which was at its peak, was activated. After a round of practice, Zhao Linlong's aura was full of vigor. Every finger seemed to pierce through the clouds, and his footwork was like a ghost. Good, good. The elders of the Zhao clan nodded and couldn't help but cheer. However, Grandmaster Yi, who was sitting at the head of the table, was calm as usual. There was no surprise nor joy on his face. No one knew what he was thinking. Chapter 60. Zhao Linlong's performance was spectacular. Putting aside the fact that he had the highest cultivation, all the youths in Sun Feather City could only look up to him. Compared to the Genius Summit, his spatial cloud finger had improved again and his shadow step was close to completion. Ever since the Genius Summit, Zhao Linlong had become even more courageous. He had been training hard and Xian Wuheng and Zhao Feng were his enemies. Under such great pressure, his strength naturally improved greatly. Even some of the older 6th layer seniors might not be his match. Not bad. The family head, Zhao Tsongtian, and the others nodded their heads. From their point of view, Zhao Linlong was one of the younger generation and his performance was very rare. They couldn't help but stare at Master Yi's expression. However, Master Yi remained expressionless. There was no surprise in his eyes. Master Yi, what do you think? Zhao Tsongtian couldn't help but ask. Once his godson, Zhao Linlong, was chosen by the Guanjuan Palace, he would have a bright future. By then, the entire Zhao clan would benefit, and it would only be a matter of time before they became the strongest force in Sun Feather City. After the family head spoke, the elders' eyes were full of expectation. Their gazes were filled with urgency. Average, Grandmaster Yi said indifferently. Average? These three words were like a hammer that hit Zhao Tiansong and the others. How could it be average? The few elders were shocked and doubtful. They were extremely shocked. Average? Zhao Linlong's face turned red, then green. At this moment, his heart was filled with anger. As the genius with the highest cultivation in Sun Feather City, he was only average in Master Ye's eyes. All right, Linlong, didn't you slightly comprehend a Saint Realm martial arts crippled style? Zhao Songtian reminded. Incomplete, sacred state martial art. Right? That's right. The eyes of the elders lit up, and they nodded. Master Yi chuckled with a hint of interest in his eyes. Yes, Godfather. Zhao Linlong took a deep breath and slowly closed his eyes. All of a sudden, his aura underwent an unusual change. His body and limbs slowly relaxed. The inner strength of the martial path followed a specific pattern and flowed on the surface. Whoosh! A gust of wind blew around Zhao Linlong's body, causing his clothes to flutter. At this moment, Zhao Linlong's aura was similar to Xian Wuheng's, but it was much dimmer, not even 1/10 of the former's. Drifting wind form. Zhao Linlong waved her arm, and a strong gust of wind caused her robes to flutter. Hula, a ring-shaped chi wave spread out several meters. As Xiao Chen's sleeves fluttered, it produced a resounding echo, like a raging wave crashing against the shore. The power of this casual wave was probably enough to shatter a stone tablet. Under the seventh stage of the martial path, very few people could take it head-on without being injured. All right. Zhao Tiansong and the elders couldn't help but clap their hands in praise. It wasn't that they were putting on an act. It was from the bottom of their hearts. Even with their cultivation as martial masters, the incomplete sacred state martial arts that they had comprehended weren't much stronger than Zhao Linlong's. After a round of applause, the elders of the Zhao clan looked at Master Yi with anticipation. This time, there shouldn't be a problem, right? The corner of Zhao Linlong's mouth curled into a smile. This is the incomplete sacred state martial art that you've comprehended? Its true power isn't even as strong as your top-tier martial arts. You haven't even learned the surface of the incomplete Saint Realm martial arts. You only have the appearance. A cold and emotionless voice echoed throughout the hall. Instantly, the hall of the Zhao clan was dead silent. Zhao Tiansong, Zhao Linlong, and the others felt as if a bucket of cold water had been poured over them. How is this possible? Zhao Linlong's breathing quickened as he felt a little unconvinced. However, the green-shirt man sitting at the head of the hall was an expert of the 9th stage of the Cloud Country. The 9th stage of the martial path. No matter how unconvinced they were, they didn't have the courage to fight back. The genius of the Zhao clan that I'm looking for isn't him, Master Yi said decisively. That day at the Genius Summit, although the two Guanjuan Corps didn't know the names of Zhao Feng and Xian Wuheng, they had described their talent and potential. Their talent and potential could be ranked in the top 5 of the Guanjuan province city. And Zhao Linlong's performance wouldn't even be ranked in the top 20 of the Guanjuan province city. Master Linlong's cultivation level is the highest in the Zhao clan, Zhao Tiansong said helplessly. At this time, the elders of the Zhao clan had a vague idea of who the genius that Master Yi was looking for was. And that person was the branch family youth that they had neglected. This was the reality that Zhao Tiansong didn't want to accept. After a moment of silence, how about this? Tell all the youths of the 5th rank and above of the Zhao clan to come here. Master Yi said. Zhao Tiansong immediately agreed and sent someone down. Soon, Zhao Yufei, Zhao Qi, and Zhao Han arrived at the main hall. There were a total of 5 youths of the 5th rank in the Zhao family: Zhao Linlong, Zhao Feng, Zhao Yufei, Zhao Qi, and Zhao Han. But today, only 4 of them had arrived. Zhao Tiansong said in a low voice, "This is Master Yi from the Guanjuan province city. If you are chosen, the Guanjuan palace may put you in an important position." Zhao Yufei and the other 2 were a little nervous, but their faces were filled with anticipation. Compared to the Guanjuan Palace, the Zhao family was just a small faction. If they were chosen by the Guanjuan Palace, their future would be immeasurable. The first to go up was Zhao Han. After he went up, a strange and powerful inner strength surged out of his body. In terms of strength and density, it was no weaker than the 6th rank of the martial path. Relying on external strength to forcefully increase one's cultivation level is just a small matter. Master Yi shook his head. Zhao Han left the stage. In Master Ye's eyes, his performance was completely lacking. This scene made Zhao Linlong let out a breath, and he even felt a little proud. Then, it was Zhao Qi's turn. Average. His comprehension is passable. This time, the evaluation was slightly better. Finally, it was Zhao Yufei's turn. Zhao Yufei was the youngest among them, so she quickly executed the top-tier martial arts spiritual wind cut the moment she stepped onto the stage. With the help of the air crossing manual, her movements and moves were agile, graceful, and full of changes. She herself also had a body-strengthening technique that was no weaker than the metal wall technique. With the help of the few techniques, Zhao Yufei's performance had a unique charm to it. The expressionless Master Ye's eyes lit up as he smiled and nodded. Not bad. Not bad. This was the best evaluation he could give her. Zhao Linlong's face instantly darkened. In terms of strength and cultivation, he was naturally better than Zhao Yufei. However, Zhao Yufei was only 14 or 15 years old, and her talent and potential caught Master Ye's eyes. The expressions of the elders of the Zhao family were slightly stunned. They didn't expect that the person that Master Yi had his eyes on was Zhao Yufei. However, it made sense. Zhao Yufei came from a branch family, and her cultivation resources were far from Zhao Linlong's. Even under such circumstances, Zhao Yufei's achievements far surpassed Zhao Linlong's. She's passable, but she doesn't seem to be the person in the report. Master Yi slightly furrowed his brows. Not good. Zhao Tiansong and the others instantly tensed up. What happened next was the thing that they didn't want to see the most. Master, there's another genius in our clan who's even more talented than Yufei. Zhao Yufei replied with a smile. From the moment she arrived at the hall, she was confused as to why Zhao Feng wasn't here. Only she didn't know that Zhao Feng was grounded by the clan and was suspected of colluding with the enemy. Under such circumstances, everyone tacitly ignored Zhao Feng. There's another one. Master Yi's expression slightly darkened as he glanced at Zhao Tiansong and the others. The hearts of Zhao Tiansong and the others shuddered. When Master Yi's gaze swept past them, they felt as if they were being slashed by an invisible blade. Master, the situation is like this. There's a young man in our clan who's suspected of betraying the clan. Shut up. Master Yi's face was filled with anger as he interrupted him and said with a stern voice, I want that genius, regardless of whether he's the traitor you're talking about. The clear voice echoed in the hall, as if it had a terrifying, penetrating force. The elders shuddered in fear. Zhao Linlong and the others felt their skin turn cold, as if they were being blown by a cold winter wind. Just the wrath of a single thought was enough to bring them such pressure. It was hard to imagine what kind of height the 9th rank of the martial path stood at. Summon Zhao Feng. Zhao Tiansong spat out a few words helplessly. The elders were both exhausted and sighed in their hearts. Zhao Linlong clenched his fists and gritted his teeth, unwilling to accept this. Was it fated that he, the number 1 genius of the Zhao clan, would be replaced by a kid from a branch clan? Zhao Feng might not be chosen. Even if he is, so what? I'll make him lose all his face. Zhao Linlong's eyes flickered and his face was slightly gloomy. After a while, a tall and handsome young man stepped into the main hall with steady steps. Who came from the Zhao clan today? Zhao Feng was slightly puzzled. Looking at the current situation, the leader and the others were all following the green shirt man on the main seat. He opened his left eye for a moment and captured the distribution of the green shirt man's inner strength. The strands of inner strength were like cow tendons, gathered together and not leaking out at all. What was more terrifying was that this person's inner strength had reached a limit in both quantity and quality. If Zhao Linlong's inner strength was a bucket of cold water, then Zhao Tiansong's was a bucket of hot water. The difference was huge. However, in comparison, the green shirt man's inner strength was like a vat of molten iron. Both quality and quantity had reached the peak of a level so strong. Zhao Feng's heart skipped a beat, and he quickly closed his left eye. The person in front of him might be the strongest person he had ever met in his life, except for the young girl in the Blood Python Canyon. "What's your name?" Master Yi asked. "Zhao Feng." The young man's voice was calm. "Not bad." Master Ye's face was filled with interest. The invisible aura from his breathing didn't make the young man in front of him show any signs of fear or panic. He didn't know why, but the young man in front of him gave him the illusion that he couldn't see through him. Zhao Feng's real cultivation was of the 6th rank, but his deadwood breathing technique had reached the peak. Under the situation where he purposely hid it, even Master Yi couldn't easily see through him. Chapter 61. Not bad. At first glance, Master Yi had given Zhao Feng a not bad evaluation. His face that never changed showed some anticipation and interest. Why? Zhao Linlong couldn't suppress the anger in his chest. His cultivation level was higher than others, and he had worked so hard to perform, but he only got a not bad evaluation. But Zhao Feng didn't do anything, but he got a not bad evaluation from Master Yi. "Zhao Feng, this is Master Yi from Guanjuan Province City, representing the Guanjuan Palace to pick a genius from the Zhao clan. Why don't you perform well? This is your chance to redeem yourself." Zhao Tiansong squeezed out a smile, but his voice was stiff. "Redeem myself?" Zhao Feng laughed coldly in his heart, but he didn't bother to explain. "Greetings, Master Yi." Zhao Feng bowed respectfully. Master Yi nodded, signaling him to practice. Under everyone's gaze, Zhao Feng took a deep breath and calmed himself down. Under the gaze of a master of the 9th rank, Zhao Feng quickly calmed down. Such a state of mind far exceeded normal youths. Whether it was Zhao Linlong or Zhao Yufei, they couldn't do it. Even Zhao Feng didn't realize that his left eye was emitting a strange aura that seeped into his body. Every time he was at a critical moment, he could quickly calm himself down. Master Yi had a rare look of surprise in his eyes, as he felt that the youth in front of him wasn't normal. Flaming Metal Fist. Zhao Feng's simple fist was the one he was most familiar with. Basic fist technique? The elders and geniuses were all shocked. Zhao Feng's basic fist technique had already reached the max level. The aura of the fist technique contained the explosive aura of the Flaming Metal Fist, and it was full of flexibility, completely surpassing the limits of the original technique. Not bad. Master Yi nodded again. Zhao Feng continued to practice his fists. Unknowingly, he had fused in a bit of his comprehension of the concept of power. Over the past few days, he had completely absorbed Xian Wuheng's concept and momentum, and he had also integrated the superficial profundities of the young girl's moves. Of course, this time, he held back slightly and only used 30 to 40% of his strength. Wush Zhao Feng's simple punch was like a ball of fierce and explosive fireball, and there seemed to be a flame dragon roaring within it. In the instant the punch was thrown out, it followed a mysterious trajectory, and it brought out all the strength in his body without restraint. Looking at it from the front, that punch was filled with a strong visual impact. It was as if a simple punch had been imbued with some kind of sublimation and deep concept. To be able to cultivate a fundamental fist technique to this level is indeed commendable. The elders nodded their heads in agreement. Of course, they didn't really take it to heart. No matter how special it was still a basic fist art. It was incomparable to top-notch martial arts. Zhao Linlong's eyes were also filled with disdain. "All right." A clear and pleasantly surprised voice resounded throughout the hall. Joy appeared in Grandmaster Ye's eyes. The sound of praise came from him. "All right." Zhao Tiansong, Zhao Linlong, and the rest almost choked to death. They looked as if they had seen a ghost. Grandmaster Ye's previous evaluation made them understand that to receive a good evaluation was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Fundamental fist art. How is this possible? Zhao Linlong almost exploded on the spot. At their level, they couldn't see what Zhao Feng's fist art had given them. Ha ha! Looks like the genius I've been looking for is you. Grandmaster Yi let out a long laugh. He had never expressed his emotions like never before. Thank you for your kindness, Grandmaster. Zhao Feng was slightly shocked. He actually didn't plan to use the fundamental fist art to impress the other party. Originally, he planned to start from the lowest fundamental fist art. The second was Angry Dragon Fists, and the third was Star Finger. But when he used the fundamental fist art, the mysterious concept that Zhao Feng comprehended could naturally be integrated into it. In my eyes, you are the true genius. Grandmaster Yi smiled as he walked down from the main seat. You are the true genius. As soon as these words came out, Zhao Linlong's face darkened to the extreme. Why? He roared in his heart, unwilling. Zhao Feng used a fundamental fist art to beat his evaluation. How could he accept this? My name is Yi Linyan. Maybe we could be friends in the future. Grandmaster Yi smiled warmly and was unusually polite to Zhao Feng. This scene made Zhao Tiansong and the rest jaws drop. Why would a high and mighty 9th rank master lower himself to be friends with a young boy? Even Zhao Feng himself was confused. He could only think of the reason for all of this, similar to Xi and Wuheng and the young girl's unique concept. He was sure that if Xi and Wuheng didn't disappear into thin air, he would definitely be noticed by Grandmaster Yi. Senior Yi, this junior is overwhelmed by the favor. Zhao Feng was slightly nervous. He didn't dare to treat Yi Linyan as a friend. This was like an ant that could never be the same as an elephant. Haha, Zhao Feng, you are too humble. One day, you will understand that you definitely have the right. Yi Linyan smiled and shook his head. At this moment, in front of Zhao Feng, he didn't put on any airs at all. This strange scene caused Zhao Tiansong, Zhao Linlong, and the rest to be shocked. This was especially so for Zhao Linlong, who was unwilling to accept this outcome. Only Zhao Yufei smiled, feeling happy for Zhao Feng, and didn't ask for the reason. Zhao Feng, are you willing to join the Guanjuan Palace? Yi Linyan asked, willing or not. At this moment, everyone in the palace held their breath. Willing or not, wasn't that obvious? Plus, Yi Linyan's attitude was too polite, even asking for Zhao Feng's opinion. Zhao Feng thought for a while before replying, I have always wanted to leave Sun Feather City and see the outside world, so I am willing. Joining the Guanjuan Palace didn't conflict with his goal. The Guanjuan Province City was much bigger than Sun Feather City, and it was a bigger stage for the Zhao clan. Good. As long as you work hard, you might be able to get Lord Guanjuan to teach you. Yi Linyan nodded with a smile. Lord Guanjuan? Zhao Feng's heart skipped a beat as he quickly thanked him. Although he was in the Zhao clan, he knew a bit about Lord Guanjuan, because Lord Guanjuan was the ruler of this 10,000-mile radius area. He was almost an invincible legend, including Sun Feather City and the Zhao family. They were all under his control. Even the upper echelons of the Zhao clan didn't have the right to get on his good side. At this time, Zhao Feng could feel the jealous gazes of Zhao Linlong and Zhao Han. To be able to join the Guanjuan Palace and even get Lord Guanjuan to teach him was a great opportunity. Once he took this step, it was certain that Zhao Feng had succeeded in leaping over the Dragon Gate, spreading his wings and entering a whole new level. How could this not make Zhao Linlong and the others jealous? Zhao Han and Zhao Qi knew the difference between them and Zhao Feng. That day, they had seen Zhao Feng's performance at the Genius Summit. Therefore, they didn't even have the right to compete. But there was one person who was an exception. That was Zhao Linlong. Zhao Linlong's heart was filled with unwillingness as he suppressed his jealousy. Why? Why? In terms of cultivation, he was the top youth in Sun Feather City. In terms of martial arts, he had touched the surface of the Holy Realm martial arts. Even if there was a difference, he didn't want to be outshone by Zhao Feng's simple foundation rank fist skill. I don't accept this. The anger in Zhao Linlong's heart was like a flood that finally exploded. In an instant, the hall was deathly silent. Linlong, no. Zhao Tiansong and the others shouted. Although they didn't understand Yi Linyun's decision, he was the representative of the Guanjuan Palace after all, and he could even represent Lord Guanjuan. Why don't you accept this? Yi Linyun's lips curled into a mocking smile. Give me a chance. I will use my own strength to prove that I am stronger than him. Isn't the rule of this world that the strong are respected? Zhao Linlong's eyes were sharp as he stared at Zhao Feng, the aura of the 6th rank of the martial path exploding. If it was a normal cultivator of the 4th or 5th rank of the martial path, they would have been stunned. But Zhao Feng wasn't affected at all. Even if he didn't use his cultivation, he wasn't afraid of Zhao Linlong at all. The strong are respected. I will give you a chance. If you can beat Zhao Feng, you will also have the right to enter the Guanjuan Palace. Yi Linyun laughed out loud. Then he said to Zhao Feng, I only saw you use the foundation rank martial arts just now. Now I want to see your higher rank martial arts. Yes, senior. Zhao Feng nodded his head. Inside the hall, Zhao Feng and Zhao Linlong faced each other. Ever since he had joined the Zhao clan, Zhao Feng had never sparred with the number 1 genius of the Zhao clan. This was the first time he met Zhao Linlong face to face. Zhao Feng, I will use my strength to prove who has the right to enter the Guanjuan Palace. It was as if Zhao Linlong's blood was burning and his mental energy was stronger than ever. His golden robe fluttered in the wind as he circulated his inner strength. Facing this battle, the other geniuses of the Zhao clan were full of anticipation. One was the current number 1 genius of the Zhao clan, and the other was the past number 1 genius of the Zhao clan. One was the number 1 genius of the Sun Feather sect. The other had the highest cultivation level among the Sun Feather sect. This was the first time the two met, and the first time they sparred. Shuttle Cloud Finger, Zhao Linlong exclaimed and pointed out with his finger. A purple azure aura appeared, giving off an aura that could shake the wind and clouds. At the same time, he used Shadow Step, and his speed was extremely fast. He left behind a ghostly afterimage as he closed in on Zhao Feng in the blink of an eye. Star Finger. An azure light appeared on Zhao Feng's fingertip, and it clashed with Zhao Linlong's Shuttle Cloud Finger. Boom! The 2 top-tier finger skills clashed, causing a strong gust of wind to blow in the air. Tongue! 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 The 2 retreated at the same time. Zhao Linlong took a step back, and his 5 viscera and 6 bowels felt unbearable. He almost vomited blood. At the same time, the finger that clashed with Zhao Feng felt numb. Zhao Feng took a few steps back and steadied himself, as if nothing had happened. This scene took Zhao Tiansong and the others by surprise. Star Finger. Star Finger reaching the 3rd level at such a young age. How is this possible? The elders naturally understood how powerful and terrifying Star Finger was. Amongst the top-tier martial arts in the martial arts library of the Zhao clan, Star Finger was the most powerful. It wasn't that the upper echelon of the family hadn't considered learning such a powerful finger skill, but all of them had given up because their progress was blocked. Chapter 62. When the 2 geniuses met, it was obvious that Zhao Feng had the upper hand in the first exchange. Zhao Tiansong and the others were shocked that Lin Fan was able to gain the upper hand despite being 1 rank lower than Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng has the upper hand when it comes to body tempering skills. Star Finger is one of the best finger skills out of all those at the same rank. Zhao Tiansong let out a sigh, but he didn't hide the shock on his face. He purposely spoke so that Zhao Linlong could hear him, so that the latter would understand the difference between them. Zhao Feng's metal wall technique had reached the 5th level, which was more powerful than anyone could imagine. Moreover, it looked like he was only half a step into the 5th level of the metal wall technique. Furthermore, the attack power of Star Finger was indeed stronger than Zhao Linlong's Shuttle Cloud Finger. I don't believe it. Zhao Linlong roared in his heart as he gathered his inner strength at his fingertips. The sound of his inner strength piercing through the clouds shook the soul. In that split second, Zhao Linlong had raised his battle power to its peak. If it were any other genius in Sun Feather City, they wouldn't be able to take on his attack. 3 forms of Star Finger. A sharp light flashed in Zhao Feng's eyes as the azure light on his fingertip became more condensed and seemed to have the tendency to fly through the air. Whoosh! His fingertips drew streaks of cyan light spots in the void, like shooting stars that flashed and disappeared in a flash. Sharp, piercing whistles could be heard from time to time, and explosive sounds could be heard. Poof! 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 Zhao Feng's attacks formed a strange pattern that pushed Zhao Linlong back again and again. Wah! At the eighth exchange, Zhao Linlong spat out a mouthful of blood, and his face was pale. It seemed that Zhao Linlong wouldn't be able to last more than 10 exchanges against Zhao Feng. This is the second Xian Wuheng. Zhao Han and Zhao Qi looked at each other in shock. However, when they thought about it, Zhao Feng and Xian Wuheng were evenly matched at the summit. At the 99th move, Xian Wuheng inexplicably admitted defeat. From this, it could be seen that Zhao Feng's strength was above Xian Wuheng and not beneath him. Flowing wind form. On the 9th move, Zhao Linlong's aura suddenly changed. Puff! As he waved his sleeves, a ring-shaped wave of air was generated around him. The strong wind was like stormy waves beating against the shore. With the naked eye, one could only see a streak of purple and green light fiercely whipping towards Zhao Feng. What kind of technique was this? Zhao Qi, Zhao Han, and the rest felt their hearts skip a beat as they felt the change in that move. Even Zhao Feng, who had always had the upper hand, felt a trace of pressure. Could this be the incomplete form of a Saint-grade martial tactic? Zhao Feng was slightly startled, but he quickly regained his composure and condensed the power of his star finger to its peak. Star finger. The cyan finger mark let out a thunderous roar. It was as if a line of stars had streaked across the sky. What? He mastered the one-star finger. Star finger. This is the signature move of the star finger. To be able to master this move, I'm afraid he's not far from reaching the 4th stage. Zhao Tiansong and the other elders were shocked. For a long time, star finger was the hardest martial art to master among the top-tier martial arts of the Zhao clan, but its power was also unparalleled. In the past 100 years, there had been many geniuses or elders of the clan who had tried to master star finger. However, their results were all the same. They either had their fingers crippled or their progress slowed down until they gave up. This was because this technique was not only difficult, but it was also extremely dangerous. A few generations ago, an elder of the Zhao clan once said that the power of star finger was comparable to a half-holy martial tactic, but it was too dangerous. However, in this generation, a young man from the branch clan had successfully mastered Starfinger and had the chance to reach the 4th stage. In the blink of an eye, Pucci, the Starfinger, pierced through the air and pierced through Zhao Linlong's wind-change stance. Zhao Linlong's body trembled. His sleeves were torn and his arm went numb. You've lost. Zhao Feng's finger landed on an acupoint on his arm, causing half of Zhao Linlong's body to go stiff. Starfinger was a martial art that contained many mysteries, including the method to hit and strike acupoints. I've lost. Zhao Linlong was dazed and his eyes were dazed. It wasn't that he didn't expect that he would lose to Zhao Feng, but he didn't expect the gap between them to be so wide. Thinking back to how he had always looked down on Zhao Feng, he felt that it was ridiculous. Not bad. Your finger technique is already at ease. Yi Linyun praised. After this battle, he was even more satisfied with Zhao Feng's performance. Even in the county city, it was rare to see someone challenge someone of a higher level. Not to mention that Zhao Feng had won so easily. Zhao Tiansong and the others looked at each other and let out a sigh. They could see that Zhao Feng had held back with his one-star finger. Otherwise, that finger would have crippled one of Zhao Linlong's arms. The battle between the top geniuses of Sun Feather City had come to an end. Yi Linyun sized up Zhao Feng with a smile and then looked at Zhao Yufei, expressing his satisfaction. Although they had missed out on the geniuses of the Xian family, they had found 2 geniuses from the Zhao family. This could be considered a success, especially Zhao Feng. His performance had exceeded Yi Linyun's expectations. You two prepare for the next 3 days, then come with me to Guanjuan City. Yi Linyun ordered. Whoosh! Yi Lin Yun was like a phantom, flashing in front of the eyes of the few people. In the next moment, he disappeared from the entrance of the palace. So fast, without using his left eye, Zhao Feng couldn't even see his shadow. If Yi Lin Yun were to make a move, the entire palace, including the head of the family and the three elders, wouldn't be able to fight back. This is the strength of the 9th rank of the martial path. I wonder how strong the legendary Lord Guanjun is. Zhao Feng couldn't help but take a deep breath. Everyone in the main hall dispersed one after another. Head of the family, there's still 3 days left. I might need to go back to Greenleaf Village. Zhao Feng looked at Zhao Tiansong. Now, the family had given him a house arrest, not allowing him to leave the Zhao clan. Go! As the head of the family, Zhao Tiansong felt powerless. These 2 words, however, seemed to exhaust all the strength in his body. Now that Zhao Feng belonged to the Guanjuan Palace, even if he had 100 guts, he wouldn't dare do anything to Zhao Feng. However, regarding Zhao Tianjin's death, I hope you can give me an answer. Judging from the way you used 1-star finger just now, you already have the ability to kill a martial artist of Zhao Tianjin's level. Zhao Tiansong's eyes flashed. At this moment, he only wanted an answer from Zhao Feng. Even if the answer was that Zhao Feng had colluded with the Qiu family, there was nothing he could do. Zhao Tianjian and Zhao Tianjian were indeed killed by me, but it wasn't because they colluded with the Qiu family. Zhao Feng smiled. It really was you? Zhao Tiansong was shocked. Before, they were just doubtful, but they didn't believe that Zhao Feng could kill Zhao Tianjian, and Zhao Tianjian went on too. One more thing. The person who colluded with the Qiu family isn't here. If you want to know the answer, why don't you investigate Zhao Tianjin's side? With these final words, Zhao Feng left the hall. Could it be Zhao Tiansong seemed to understand something? On the same day, the upper echelon of the Zhao clan sent people to control the members of Zhao Tianjin's side, including Zhao Yijian. Zhao Yijian himself didn't know the details, but within his side, there were indeed clues and evidence of the Qiu family's relationship. The truth was finally revealed. After this, the tumor that the Qiu family had left in the Zhao clan was finally removed. The upper echelon of the Zhao clan also realized the unfair treatment they had given to Zhao Feng. If it was any other day, it wouldn't be a big deal. But today was different. Zhao Feng had been chosen by the Guanjuan Palace. His future was immeasurable. His success or failure would affect the future of the Zhao clan. Because of this, the upper echelon had given Zhao Feng's family all sorts of rewards and benefits. The patriarch and the other elders had asked Zhao Yusong to come and comfort Zhao Feng. Among the upper echelon of the Zhao clan, the only person that Zhao Feng respected was Zhao Yusong. Haha, this is so satisfying. These old fellows finally have a day when they can't take it anymore. Not only did Zhao Yusong not sympathize with the upper echelon of the family, he even ridiculed them. Zhao Yusong was also unhappy with the unfair treatment that Zhao Feng had previously received. Today, Zhao Feng's sudden rise made him feel very happy. Oh right, the upper echelon of the family has decided to open the 3rd floor of the martial library for you to enter. Zhao Yusong brought another piece of news. The 3rd floor of the martial library? Zhao Feng's lips curled into a smile. This result was not out of his expectations. On the 2nd day, Zhao Yusong and the other 2 elders opened the 3rd floor of the martial library. The 3rd floor of the martial library was an extremely mysterious place. One elder alone was unable to open the 3rd floor. There was also a rule in the clan that 3 elders had to agree and join hands to open the 3rd floor of the martial library. On the 3rd floor of the martial library, there was a dark green stone door. The 3 martial masters worked together to infuse their inner strength into the dark green stone door. Buzz, the dark green stone door rumbled, as if it had activated a certain mechanism within. Then the stone door opened. Zhao Feng immediately stepped into the 3rd floor and entered a spacious room with stone walls. The surrounding stone walls were carved with some strange patterns, vivid and lifelike, some incomplete, and some blurry. After the three martial masters infused their inner strength, the patterns seemed to come to life, and under their gazes, they seemed to present an illusion. Flowing wind stance, partial wind stance, tornado stance, burning wind stance. Under each pattern, there was a name for a move. But because of the age, the images were not very clear. Zhao Feng faintly felt that with the power of martial masters, it seemed that it was not enough to fully activate the illusion on the stone wall. This series of patterns on the stone wall should form a complete saint-grade martial tactic. But the stone wall is blurry or incomplete, and with the power of inner strength, it is impossible to fully activate the moves. Zhao Feng's left eye quickly scanned the patterns. Zhao Feng, we can only hold on for 30 breaths at most. Whether you can comprehend it or not will depend on yourself. Zhao Yusong's voice came from outside. 30 breaths. Zhao Feng's heart skipped a beat, and he suddenly felt a sense of urgency. Shush! In the next instant, his left eye was pushed to the limit and entered a supervision interface. Under his left eye's focus, the images on the stone wall became clearer and more complete. Absorb! Zhao Feng lightly spat out a word, and one of the images was absorbed into the dimension of his left eye. This represented an incomplete form of a saint-grade martial tactic. Chapter 63. Inside the space of his left eye, a vivid picture appeared on the paper. It was just a few pictures, but it seemed to contain some mysteries. The picture that he had absorbed was also slightly blurry. Although it couldn't form a complete holy martial art, the intent contained within it was still better than normal peak rank martial arts. Flowing wind stance. Zhao Feng looked at the name of the crippled martial art below the picture. This stance was the crippled holy martial art that Zhao Linlong had just used, but it only touched the surface of it. Then, Zhao Feng opened his left eye and absorbed the second picture. The changes in the second segment were even more complicated, and the impact of the intent was also stronger. The second stance, tornado stance. After Zhao Feng successfully absorbed the intent of the picture into the dimension of his left eye, he felt a wave of tiredness in his mind. The more complicated and profound the scene captured by his left eye was, the more mental energy it consumed. The third stance, partial wind stance. Zhao Feng clenched his teeth and absorbed the third picture into the dimension of his left eye. The third stance was more complicated than the second, and it was harder to absorb. At this moment, the tiredness in his mind became stronger. Cold sweat appeared on Zhao Feng's forehead, and he felt tired. Even if he wanted to absorb the picture of the fourth stance, burning wind stance, it would be too much for him. He took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and activated the air crossing mantra, seizing the time to recover his energy. Outside the stone door, the three elders of the Zhao clan continued to pour their inner strength into it, but they could only last for 30 breaths. The time left for him was getting shorter and shorter. 10 breaths, 15 breaths, 20 breaths, as the time was approaching its limit. The three elders outside the stone door were starting to lose their energy. 25 breaths, 26 breaths, 27 breaths. Zhao Feng's breathing became faster. At this moment, the tiredness in his mind was slightly relieved. There were only 2 to 3 breaths left. Burning wind stance. Zhao Feng suddenly opened his left eye, and a layer of green light appeared on the surface of his eye as he absorbed the intent of the fourth picture. Boom! In the next instant, his consciousness was engulfed by a fierce, fiery wind, and his entire body felt as if it was being burned. The violent and charging gale seemed to be able to destroy everything. Everywhere it passed, everything burned, exploded, swept, and burned. Is this still the power a martial artist can achieve? Zhao Feng's heart trembled. His mouth was dry, and all the water in his body seemed to evaporate. But in the real world, he didn't suffer any harm. It was just an impact from the artistic conception. Whoosh! The fourth part of the burning wind stance was absorbed into the dimension of his left eye. Success. Zhao Feng was physically and mentally exhausted. He sat down on the ground. Almost at the same time, the three elders outside the stone door withdrew their inner force. Buzz. The patterns on the stone walls of the room returned to a deathly stillness and darkness, devoid of any artistic conception. How is it? How's your comprehension? When Zhao Feng walked out of the third floor, Zhao Yusong and the other two elders asked. Comprehension? Zhao Feng was stunned. He really hadn't comprehended anything since he entered the third floor. Don't be discouraged. There's only a partial holy martial art here, and it's blurry. The geniuses that entered the third floor in the past all gained nothing. Zhao Yusong comforted with a smile. They weren't surprised that Zhao Feng didn't comprehend anything. That's right. Even if you manage to comprehend a bit, it's still not as good as a peak rank martial art. Another elder nodded his head and said, there were two reasons why the third floor of the martial arts library wasn't open to the public. Firstly, every time it was open, the three elders had to expend their yuan qi, and it could only last for 30 breaths. Secondly, the partial holy martial art was blurry, and some geniuses could only comprehend a bit of it. 30 breaths was too short, and any genius would find it hard to comprehend the essence of the blurry images on the wall. Thank you for your trouble, elders. Zhao Feng had a smile on his face, and he wasn't disappointed at all. That's right, he didn't comprehend anything in 30 breaths of time, but he had completely absorbed the 4 images into the dimension of his left eye, making them his. After returning home, Zhao Feng closed his eyes and started to meditate to recover his energy. After recovering his energy, he started to comprehend the 4 partial holy martial arts in his mind. The 4 images weren't complete holy martial arts. They were all blurry and incomplete. Even so, Zhao Feng was still obstructed when he tried to comprehend them. The first and second weren't as difficult as the girl's mysterious wind palm, but the third was on par with the mysterious wind palm. The fourth, burning wind stance, was filled with a destructive intent, and its power was terrifying. Even though it was a partial, its power was still shocking, and it had exceeded the limit of a human being's power. After comprehending for a long time, Zhao Feng let out a long breath, and he couldn't help but shake his head. Out of the 4 partial holy martial arts, he could only comprehend the first flowing wind stance. But even if he completely comprehended one of the partial holy martial arts, the increase in his overall strength was far less than a complete peak ranked martial art. This was because the first flowing wind stance was only for support, and it wasn't an offensive skill. Because of this, Zhao Feng didn't try to comprehend the holy martial arts. But he still had a feeling that although the 4 holy martial arts didn't have much use right now, they might one day have a great effect. The next morning, Zhao Feng followed his original plan and returned to Greenleaf Village with his parents. In 2 days, he would leave Sun Feather City and head towards Guanjun Province City. In the blink of an eye, I've been in the Zhao family for almost a year. Zhao Feng couldn't help but sigh. When he first entered the Zhao family, he was only a martial disciple of the first rank of the martial path. In less than a year, he had improved by leaps and bounds, reaching the 6th rank of the martial path. With your current age and cultivation, returning to Greenleaf Village is like returning home. His father, Zhao Tianyang, said with a smile. His parents were extremely proud of their son's performance. The Zhao family branch in Greenleaf Village was small, with a population of about 100. The head of the branch, Zhao Kaiyuan, was a 4th-rank martial disciple and was already in his 60s. Other than that, the highest cultivation in the entire Zhao family branch was a 3rd-rank martial disciple, and they were all young and middle-aged. After hearing the news of Zhao Feng's return, the head of the family, Zhao Kaiyuan, personally came out to greet him. Thinking back, Zhao Feng was also the #1 genius of the Zhao family of Qingye Town. Today, he had not let them down, returning home in glory, receiving the attention of everyone, and returning as a hero. The group entered the pavilion of the branch. The buildings here couldn't compare to the luxurious style of the Zhao clan branch. Many of them had not been repaired for a long time, and some parts were dilapidated. Feng Er's achievements today have far exceeded our expectations. Zhao Kaiyuan couldn't help but sigh. In just a short period of year, Zhao Feng had reached the 5th rank, and in the branch, he was already the number 1. This was something that no one had expected. According to past experience, most of the youths that were recommended to the Zhao clan branch were mediocre, and not long after, they were beaten back by the clan. In fact, when they recommended Zhao Feng to Sun Feather City, Zhao Kaiyuan and the other elders didn't have much hope. Knowing the truth, Zhao Feng was stunned. It seemed that the elders of Qingye Town had never thought that he could make a name for himself in the Zhao clan, and were even prepared to be beaten back to the branch. Just as they were talking, there was a commotion outside the door of the Zhao family. Immediately after, there was another round of fighting sounds, followed by a series of screams. "What's going on?" Zhao Feng's eyebrows furrowed, and the conversation within the room was interrupted. Reporting to the head of the family, "The Liu family has come looking for trouble again." A few bruised youths of the Zhao family branch rushed in. "How dare they?" The head of the family, Zhao Kaiyuan, stood up with a face full of anger. The Liu family? A sharp light flashed in Zhao Feng's eyes. He was born in Qingye Town, so he was very familiar with the Liu family. In the past 10 years, the Liu family had risen rapidly, and their power had expanded rapidly. 2 years ago, they had already become the number 1 family in Qingye Town. Although Qingye Town couldn't be compared to Sun Feather City, the number 1 power in the town was not to be underestimated. Zhao Feng remembered that when he left a year ago, there were rumors that the Liu family had 2 to 3 experts of the 5th rank of the martial path. In the past year, the Liu family has quickly swallowed up some of the family's businesses. Now, they have their eyes on a mine that our Zhao family uses to make a living, and they want to buy it for 3,000 silver. Zhao Kaiyuan's tone was filled with anger, but his face was full of worry. "Hee, the Liu family has guts." Zhao Feng sneered, stood up, and walked towards the door. "Feng heir, don't be rash. The Liu family's power is not as simple as it looks on the surface. In the past year, the Liu family has given birth to a 6th rank expert." The head of the family, Zhao Kaiyuan, exclaimed and hurriedly stopped him. Although Zhao Feng was strong, he was alone. How could he fight against the Liu family? The Liu family had more than 10 martial artists. 2 of them were of the 5th rank of the martial path. The most terrifying thing was that a 6th rank expert had appeared in Qingye Town, and the other families didn't dare to say anything. Angry Dragon Fist. At the entrance of the Zhao family branch, Zhao Feng sent a Liu family martial artist flying with a punch. "This guy's a 5th rank martial artist. Let's go together." The leading martial artist of the Liu family shouted. A group of people fiercely licked their lips and rushed toward Zhao Feng. "Quickly help Feng heir." Zhao Kaiyuan and Zhao Tianyang shouted. The scene was chaotic. "No one go, I'll go alone." Zhao Feng's exclamation came from the crowd. "Pung, pung, pung." He flew and kicked a few of the Chiu family's fighters away. Zhao Feng faced the siege of more than 10 people, but he was calm. The Liu family's fighters who got close to him all screamed and fell to the ground. A few of the more vicious ones even lost their arms and legs. Capture the leader first. Zhao Feng left behind a few afterimages as he quickly defeated the 2 or 3 leading martial artists one by one. "Ah, spare me. Young master, spare me." At the entrance of the Zhao family branch, the Liu family's people were thrown off their horses and dust flew everywhere. And the Zhao family only had 1 person. The young man's upright figure, in the dust and chaos, looked even more heroic and tall. "Ha ha!" The people of the Zhao family's branch family let out a long laugh. A group of Liu family martial artists and martial disciples returned in a sorry state. Zhao Feng shook his head. These people were really not enough. The Liu family, I'm afraid, will not let this go. We have to be on guard. The head of the family, Zhao Kaiyuan's face was filled with worry and uneasiness. No matter what, the Liu family was the number 1 power in Qingye Town, and its power was nearly 10 times stronger than the Zhao family branch. "Guard?" Zhao Feng was slightly startled, and suddenly said, "Why should we guard? Why don't we directly attack the Liu family?" Chapter 64. Why should we? Why don't we just attack the Lu family? Zhao Feng's words made the branch family members of the Zhao family pause for a moment. Attack the Lu family? Zhao Kaiyuan and the other elders shook their heads in fear. We can't. The power of the Lu family covers the sky with one hand in Greenleaf Town, while the Zhao family is weak. In their minds, they could only accept the Lu family's adversity, and at most, they could only be on guard. As for taking the initiative to attack, they didn't even dare to think about it, unless they were tired of living. Leave this matter to me. With these words, Zhao Feng's body blurred, leaving behind an afterimage. In the next moment, he jumped to the opposite roof, and in a few breaths, he disappeared. Not good. Zhao Kaiyuan, Zhao Tianyang, and the others were alarmed. How powerful was the Lu family in Greenleaf Town? How could it be shaken by a rising star? Quickly catch up to him. The people in the house all exclaimed. However, looking at the entire Zhao family, or even the entire Greenleaf Town, who could be faster than Zhao Feng? The Zhao family's strongest member, Zhao Kaiyuan, was not even half as fast as Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng performed lightly floating fairy, leaping between the houses and trees in the town, his feet barely touching the ground, and in some empty areas, he once again used the air as leverage. Up until now, his lightly floating fairy had almost reached the great completion realm. Not knowing why, when he performed this martial art, Zhao Feng naturally used the profound meaning of flowing wind stance. Flowing wind stance was the easiest of the 4 incomplete holy martial arts that Zhao Feng obtained from the martial arts library. At this moment, when he performed lightly floating fairy, Zhao Feng naturally integrated flowing wind stance, and his figure became even more graceful, as if he was one with the surrounding wind. Tung! Tung! Zhao Feng felt his body become lighter and more agile. When he soared through the air, his movements became smoother. Every time he was in midair, he could change directions at will. Unknowingly, his lightly floating fairy had reached a high level, and his speed had reached a whole new level. In the blink of an eye, Zhao Feng's speed rose again. Whoosh! With the naked eye, one could only see an afterimage flashing between the houses and trees. It was unbelievably fast. Zhao Feng was extremely delighted in his heart. He never imagined that the flowing wind style that seemed to have no power would actually have such an auxiliary effect. From this, it could be seen that the flowing wind style that Zhao Linlong comprehended that day was a complete mistake when he used it as an offensive martial art. Greenleaf Town, Lu family mansion. Elder, a young genius has appeared in the Zhao family. His strength is unstoppable, and he crippled a few of our brothers. A Lu clan cultivator with disheveled hair sat in fear and on knees. A mere Zhao family dares to touch our people? In the hall, a chubby middle-aged man, wearing a luxurious robe, said slowly. As he spoke, the chubby middle-aged man took a sip of tea, appearing to be indifferent. In Greenleaf Town, the Lu clan was undoubtedly the overlord. In the past few years, those who dared to challenge their authority had all disappeared from the face of the earth. In the eyes of the Lu clan, a force like the Zhao family was just a small family that could be easily destroyed. If it wasn't for the fact that there was a higher power than the Zhao family, the Zhao clan, the Lu clan would have already swallowed it up. Elder, you have to help us. The Zhao family dared to do this. It means that they are not putting you and the head of the family in their eyes. A few of the Lu clan's fighters begged. Spread the word that I will give the Zhao family one day to hand over that young man. Otherwise, they will have to bear the consequences. The chubby middle-aged man's voice suddenly became cold, and the atmosphere in the room suddenly became oppressive. Yes, yes. A few of the Lu clan's fighters revealed expressions of joy and immediately agreed. Not good. That young man from the Zhao family has killed his way into the Lu clan's mansion. At this moment, a chaotic sound came from somewhere in the Lu clan's mansion. Plop, plop. A blur flashed past the Zhao mansion as if it was an uninhabited place. Everywhere it passed, not a single person could block a single attack. Reporting to the elder, reporting to the head of the family, A young man from the Zhao family has killed his way into the mansion and injured 10 to 20 people. The Liu clan's mansion was in chaos. Every time the fleeting afterimage appeared, it would easily subdue a martial cultivator. In the main hall of the Liu clan's mansion, the head of the family, Liu Gurong, and 2 elders, as well as 6 martial artists, gathered together. That person's speed is too fast. Even a cultivator of the 5th rank of the martial path can't catch up, the other skinny elder said. When has such a genius appeared in the Zhao family's branch family? He's at least at the peak of the 5th rank at such a young age. The chubby elder was no longer as relaxed as before, and his face was solemn. With the 2 elders' cultivation of the 5th rank of the martial path, they couldn't even see the young man's figure, let alone chase after him. Luckily, the mansion had regained its peace, and the young man from the Zhao family didn't make a move. Everyone's gaze turned to the head of the family, Liu Gurong, who had the highest cultivation. Liu Gurong was in his 60s, and his hair was white, but his face was calm as he said, "In terms of speed, I can't catch up to him. How is this possible?" Everyone's heart skipped a beat. Liu Gurong's cultivation had reached the 6th rank in half a year, and he was the first in Greenleaf Town. What should they do? The higher-ups of the Liu clan had no idea what to do. Of course, if he appears, I'm confident that I can defeat him. Only the head of the family, Liu Gurong, remained calm without a trace of panic. If that kid dares to appear in the main hall, I'll make sure that he doesn't return. Everyone shouted coldly. At this moment, more than 80% of the higher-ups of the Liu clan were gathered in the main hall, and their strength was enough to suppress all the other forces in Greenleaf Town. The young man from the Zhao family was walking into a trap. This was Liu Gurong's plan, to use silence. It's for the best that all of you are together. It saves me the trouble. A young man's light laughter came from the roof of the house. Everyone in the main hall changed their expressions. When did the young man from the Zhao family appear above their heads? Crack! The roof shook, and the tiles shattered. A young man landed in the middle of the main hall. The young man was Zhao Feng. He landed right in the middle of the higher-ups of the Liu clan. This created an extremely dangerous situation. Zhao Feng was completely surrounded by the higher-ups of the Liu clan, and he was like a trapped beast. An inescapable net that came uninvited. The chubby elder's face was flushed red as he laughed. Liu Gurong and the skinny elder's faces also revealed a hint of joy. The other 6 martial artists also had excited faces, and they secretly accumulated their inner strength. Young man, you're indeed very outstanding, but you're still a bit too young. Liu Gurong had a bright smile on his face, as if he had already won. If Zhao Feng didn't fight head-on, with his superhuman speed and agility, there was nothing they could do. But who would have thought that Zhao Feng would give up this advantage and face the higher-ups of the Liu clan head-on? At this moment, the higher-ups of the Liu clan stared at Zhao Feng in the middle as if they were looking at an idiot. They all had malicious intentions and a mocking expression on their faces. Zhao Feng was dazed for a moment, and then he immediately understood. Looks like you still haven't figured out who is the hunter and who is the prey. Zhao Feng smiled mischievously. Brat, why are you still not surrendering? A few martial artists slowly approached, and they were about to attack. Only the family head, Liu Gurong, had a hint of doubt in his eyes. But at this moment, Zhao Feng had already been surrounded, and it was like a turtle in a jar. Take it down, the chubby elder yelled, and the martial artists all attacked. Roaring tiger fist, crushing stone palm, flying cloud kick. A group of martial artists surrounded him, and all kinds of martial arts were thrown at him. Zhao Feng was instantly faced with the attacks of 6 martial artists. Liu Gurong and the 2 elders paid attention to the possible directions that Zhao Feng might escape to. But Zhao Feng, who was surrounded, did not seem to have any thoughts of escaping. Bang! Bang! A series of attacks landed on his body. Iron wall, shock kill. Zhao Feng's body was as hard as an iron wall, and it produced a formless rebounding force that was overbearing and strong enough to shatter iron and stone. Crack, crack. a series of bone-cracking sounds lingered in the ears. The attacks of 5 to 6 martial artists landed on Zhao Feng's body at the same time, and the terrifying rebounding force broke their bones, and in the more serious cases, they lost their arms and legs. Plop, plop, plop. 5 to 6 martial artists fell to the ground, and all of them were seriously injured, losing their ability to fight. This scene caused Lu Guorong and the 2 elders, who had not made a move, to freeze on the spot like wooden chickens. When they came to their senses, they sucked in a breath of cold air, and their faces were full of fear and shock. How'd he do this? The chubby elder cried out involuntarily. It's your turn. Zhao Feng looked at Lu Guorong and the other 2 calmly. Young man, let's talk. Lu Guorong squeezed out a smile, which was uglier than crying. The strength that Zhao Feng displayed just now was far beyond their understanding. No wonder he dared to kill his way into the Lu family's base alone. Even Lu Guorong had no confidence in dealing with Zhao Feng now. I'll give you one day. All the martial artists of the Lu family must withdraw from Greenleaf Town. Otherwise, I'll cripple your cultivation. Zhao Feng said indifferently. He grew up in Greenleaf Town and was very clear about the Lu family's vicious methods. Therefore, Zhao Feng's punishment was relatively light. Yes, yes, yes. Lu Guorong immediately agreed and gave the chubby elder and the 2 elders a look. Did they agree so easily? Just when Zhao Feng was surprised, a sudden change occurred. Cloud-breaking palm. Lu Guorong's inner strength suddenly exploded, and he launched a fist at the peak of high level, aiming straight for Zhao Feng's head. Kid die. The chubby elder and the skinny elder attacked Zhao Feng from 2 different directions. At such a close distance, facing the counterattack of 2 martial artists of the 6th and 5th stage, even Zhao Feng was caught off guard. Young man, you're still too inexperienced. Lu Guorong grinned, and the wind from his palm pressed down on Zhao Feng's head. Ignorant fool. Zhao Feng coldly smiled, leaving behind an afterimage that formed a series of afterimages between the 3. Not good. Lu Guorong and the other 2's attacks all missed, and they didn't even touch the corner of Zhao Feng's clothes. Shua! In the next instant, the afterimages flickered. Zhao Feng's figure once again appeared between the 3. The situation was exactly the same, as if time had reversed. What? Lu Guorong and the other 2 were shocked. They stared at Zhao Feng, and their backs were drenched in cold sweat. High-level footwork. Perfection? Lu Guorong's voice was hoarse, and he barely spat out a few words. At this moment, they finally realized how terrifying the young man in front of them was. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.